Hi, I'm Dino Tripodis. Tonight on Whiskey Business, there's no business like joke business. We'll get into all of it tonight with comedian Henry Allen on Whiskey Business. Hi, I'm Dino Tripodis, and welcome to Whiskey Business, the podcast not so much about whiskey as it is one with whiskey. Yeah. We're back after our Halloween special.
Halloween hangover.
Halloween special. That was a great time. Many thanks to 451 Spirits. And tonight on the podcast, a very funny man, Henry Allen, joins us this evening. We'll get to Henry here in just a little bit. But I have a lot of questions for Henry. I started open micing at the Funny Bone and other small places, a little place called Costello's, the comedy club at the Ramada.
I used to work there, yeah.
Whitney used to work there. That was back in 1989 when there was a comedy explosion, a renaissance, if you will, boys. People were opening up comedy places everywhere. The Holiday Inns in Whitesburg, Kentucky would turn into comedy clubs on a Friday and a Saturday night. There were god-awful places.
Jeans and blazers everywhere.
Oh, yeah. And as soon as, the comedy show was over, then the DJ would come up and the faded disco lights that they had from the 70s and the early 80s would start flashing and people would be dancing. There was a Ramada Inn in Portsmouth, Ohio, from your neck of the woods. Oh, yeah. There was a Ramada Inn, and the restaurant was the Nellie Peck at the Ramada, and it would turn into a comedy club. They'd be rushing to clear out the salad bar and move everything up to make a stage Friday and Saturday night the show. But they were great memories, and that's how I started in stand-up, and it progressed into a lot of really wonderful things until I took the job in radio and still kept my foot in stand-up. But it's changed and developed so much, and that's kind of what we're going to be talking about tonight. There's no business like a joke business, the actual business of comedy right now.
Interesting.
In this day and age, with social media being a huge proponent of it and a necessary part. These are part of my questions, which I'll get to Henry with in just a second. But thank you, man, for being here. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm
I just had the
to be
pleasure of working with Henry just last week. We did Last Realtor Standing.
Oh, fun.
He was one of the comedy mentors.
Mm-hmm. We got ripped off, but that's fine. I'm over it. I'm over it.
She was great, man.
Yeah, some would say she was the best and deserved to win, but I'm over it. It's not a big deal.
And that's what charity is that for?
I can't remember what the charities go to. I just know that what the premise is basically is the mentors kindly take on realtors.
Mm-hmm. Don't put that A in there.
They get very upset when you mess it up, and they coach these people to do 3 to 5 minutes of stand-up. Mm-hmm. And over the years that I've hosted the show, some have done really well, some have done not so well. But Henry's was she got I don't know what part of it was her, just a natural ability, or the fact that you had the wherewithal and the knowledge to see what she had and bring it out. But the biggest compliment I gave her that night was it did not seem like your very first time doing stand-up. And
wow.
I give some of that credit, if not most of it, to you for having developed her set. Mm-hmm. I mean, she had her beats, she had timing.
Definitely.
She was comfortable. I mean, you did a great job.
I think all realtors, though, have that ability because they're showing houses, right? They're already there where they're, remembering anything about the house, and just that's what stand-up is, right? Holding someone's attention and then remembering what you have to tell them.
Okay, I never looked at it that way.
Yeah,
that's true.
Is that the approach that you took when you were mentoring her?
We kind of sat down the first time, and she was, an older white lady. So I was instantly, we should do Karen material, making fun of Karens. Uh-huh. And she was okay. So we kind of she told me some stories that she had and just kind of went with it from there and, punched it up. You can take a long story that's 5 minutes and be you can only say these things in 30 seconds and then put 2 jokes in there and you got a pretty good joke.
And much like in a comedy competition with professionals, where you land in the lineup.
First, second, third,
we went first.
They were first.
Yeah,
if she would have been third in the rocking chair spot or last, I think she might have, because they needed to be warmed up.
Yeah.
I did the best I could,
Sure.
but they had these.
And everybody's
Hold on a
boozing.
second.
Best sound ever.
That's my favorite sound.
I like the noise when it gets poured and it's like.
Well, bring your glass. The guest always gets his glass poured first. You like that? Oh, that's sweet.
You like that.
And then we go with Hansberry, and then of course John Whitney.
That's good.
Chip, you're back there. You want some of this? Sure. You know you do. Chip Cassell, ladies and gentlemen, our fifth Beatle, even though there's only three of us.
Let me hit the
doing,
Facebook
buddy?
social media real quick while we're doing it. The business.
Yeah, do that.
Whiskey Business is the podcast. Not so much about whiskey as it is one with whiskey. Thank you for subscribing on your
It's only
favorite
been 5 years. That's okay, man.
Let's run that back. You want to take another take?
Thank you for subscribing on your favorite podcasting app. Go ahead and if you're following us on Apple, rate, review. That helps other people follow it, find us. If you are listening on your favorite podcasting app, you can find us on YouTube, Whiskey Business with Dino Tripodis. If you're watching us on YouTube, you could go ahead and just follow us on your favorite.
Smash that button.
Smash it. Hit that little bell. Ding, 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 ding. And you'll get a notification.
They
It's like Michael Winslow.
They work so well together.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
The charisma.
Yeah.
They're dating, right? Are you guys married or what's that thing?
Feels like it.
Don't tell it's secret. The Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Whiskey Business, whiskeybusinesspod.com is our website.
Did you mention Evergreen?
Thanks to Evergreen, our parent company.
Our parent company up in Cleveland, which I didn't tell you guys. Unless you guys got an email as well. We got invited to a party.
Oh,
we did?
Nice.
thanks for the invite.
Yeah.
For telling us.
I didn't know if you guys.
When
got
was
the-
it? Is it coming up or
It's
no?
coming up. It's next
Okay.
Thursday up in Cleveland at the Cleveland Yacht Club.
Well, shit.
I'm not going to go without you guys.
Uh-huh.
Thursday.
It's Thursday it's from 6 to 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
My buddy Jason's getting a vasectomy that day.
Is he really?
Yeah. He'll have to
Big
stay
day.
home,
Big day.
And you have to be there for it, or
I just told him I'd be there to hang out.
Chip's loving it.
Is he really? Is he really getting a vasectomy?
Yeah, he really is.
Because you got one, and I know you guys are like best friends, but is
Yeah.
he getting one because you got one?
Well, not so much, but I think I influenced him. Yeah.
Seriously? Do you have friends like that, Henry? Like, if you do something, well, I'm going to do that too.
I mean, yeah, but not vasectomies.
That's kind of weird.
Seems crazy.
No, well, we're married and have kids, and we're done with all that.
Sure,
So you and
sure.
Jason are married? I didn't know that.
Be careful
Amazing.
though.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Be careful though, because once you get it right, the vasectomy, that there's still like so many times that it's live still.
Yeah, they said 15 to 20 expulsions.
Is that what they said?
Yeah, that's what my doc said.
15 to 20 expulsions after the vasectomy? Or there's
Yeah.
the boys are still active?
Yep.
So,
Does that mean you have to kind of work that out?
That's
for a while
exactly
on
what
your
that
own?
means. Yes.
So
you
it's
got to go
gonna
to a cabin away, get your last 20 out.
you still have expulsions to go?
I've got
You had
about
a vasectomy like a
14
year ago.
years. 14 years
He's
ago.
got 9 more left. Oh, that's
I don't know. Did you really need one? When it's all said and done. Henry, are you a married man, Henry?
No, I'm not.
No.
I am in a relationship with the person that I would say will be my wife.
Okay. All right. That's a discussion that you two have had.
Yeah. Whenever we've been together a while. Whenever we like in the first few years, it was like more of her being like, "Let's do it," and I was like, "I don't think I really want to get married, maybe right now, or ever, but like definitely want to be with her." And then now, where we've been together for a while, I'm kind of like, maybe we could do it now, and she's like, "I think I'm over it now." He's like, "I don't really."
So you had your time. Now she's had her time.
Yeah.
So a few more years, maybe you'll both
Exactly.
in
Yeah.
the middle.
For
That's
sure.
nice. That's good. That's good because it's tough. It is tough to be in a relationship with a comedian.
Yes, but I feel like I've done so well with just like the early years of it because I mean there's something about it. I'm not trying to sound cocky at all, but like you do a show for a bunch of people and you're really funny. Girls usually like that, and like they want to talk to you and stuff, and that's got to be hard. Like if she was, and like whatever her work would be where like a bunch of dudes are trying to talk to her after she like gets off. She's not a stripper, but I'm just saying if there was like a comparison here, I would not like
A
that,
really good banker.
Yeah, and they were like waiting outside after. Man, that teller was great.
She was awesome.
Having that money back
What are you
so
doing?
hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, she gave me like $20 extra. I'm gonna wait for her. That's
And
crazy.
she said, "Don't worry about it. I'll fix it later."
And we're like, whoa. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely hard, I would say, but we're a good partnership.
Good. Good. So
We supposed to drink this, by the way?
we are. I want to introduce the guest bottle. The guest bottle tonight is. Hey, you should feel honored. You actually got introduced before the guest bottle. That is
Thank
a
you.
break in whiskey business culture. Usually the guest bottle gets introduced first, and then
I'm honored.
the guest.
We've got a format, Dino.
I know, and I broke it. 'cause
Let's
of
start
Henry.
over. Run it back.
This is the Bardstown Bourbon Company's Fusion
Sorry,
series. This is bottle number 5, I believe. This is an interesting little experiment from Bardstown. MGP, a lot of whiskeys come from MGP. We know that, but we never know where they come from or who's made them. But a lot of companies slap a label, but a lot of their whiskey innards come from MGP. And,
Right. And in Indiana, right?
Right, in Indiana. So this is actually a combination of, they say, 3 whiskeys, bourbons, I should say, that are kind of fused together in the Fusion series. And they've done very, very well with this series. It's the bottles retail somewhere between $59 and $79.
Oh, really?
a
I
bottle.
thought there's another version that was like 129.
There
That
is
must-
some bigger ones. Yeah,
It's not this one.
This
not
one.
one.
This particular one comes into that ballpark, and it was a gift from our buddy Rick Andreessen, who's a big fan of the podcast. He was also a guy I went to high school with, and I saw him at our 45th class reunion.
Thanks, Rick.
And so
hello to your wife.
he was his wife adores you.
Thank you.
They actually watch Whiskey Business on a big screen TV when it drops, like a TV show.
Wow.
They watch it in their living room like a weekly show.
That's super cool.
It is. It's weird, and I guess you on the big screen is just more than she can handle.
Looking good, man.
Hey. Well, there's your big head. So next to you,
I have a very large head.
They're like, Dino looks massive, but that guy in the middle looks normal sized. I like that normal size looking guy.
Hey, normal guy here. No, I've been to Bardstown. Went there almost about a year ago now, and it's newer. It's a newer distillery. So if you're going to see like the old like Woodford, the barrels and the brick walls, this is not the place. This is really cool, new and modern. So, but it's still a cool place to go and have dinner. I remember we ate pork rinds there. Really yummy pork rinds.
Good
You were there a
pork
year
rinds?
ago?
Yep.
So this was like right after the vasectomy?
It was right before.
Right before.
Because I remember talking to people about it at the bar there.
Okay, this is
And they're like,
very-
yeah, we're having dinner with our family. So,
Pork rinds
One
reminded me.
one
Do you
injection
like
down.
whiskey?
oh yes, I
You
do.
like this one? Now that I'd mentioned that there was 3 different bourbons going on here, and one of them is 4 years old, one of them is a 3-year-old, and there's an 11-year-old in the mix as well. And the 3-year-old, being the youngest, is the least amount of that's in here. The majority is the 4-year, 56% of that, 14% of the 3-year, and it looks like 30% of the 11-year. But once again, they don't tell you what. It is just a
Do they put
origin.
an age statement on that? Do they have to go with the one with the most, like 4 years?
That's a good question, John Whitney. And as I said before,
How does that work?
We are not whiskey experts, just enthusiasts.
What was the question again?
How
Like if
old?
there's 3 blends of three different years, do they have to? If they did an age statement about how old the whiskey is, do they have to go with the age of the
Oldest or youngest?
Yeah,
youngest.
I don't think that'd be allowed.
or the one with
right?
the most? Like
Nah, I don't think that'd be
Okay, the
allowed.
majority in the bottle is at that
Yeah.
age. I would say they probably would use the oldest one just because it's like it's in there, right?
It's
you
in
want to
there,
buy
right,
it, it's 12 years.
right.
Yeah,
But if
I
they
don't
want to
think
be
that's
honest,
fair.
sneaky, that would be sneaky.
That'd be fine, and they're not sneaky. They're very upfront about everything.
It's very good, by the way.
I've had this before. Did you pick up a hint of caramel?
it definitely smells sweet. Should we cheers before?
Yeah,
You guys do
cheers
that,
before.
or-
Yeah.
Cheers. Thanks for
Yeah,
having me.
yeah,
guys.
guys. Pleasure. Yeah, a little hint of caramel is what I remember, and I taste it again. Yeah, especially after.
Yep.
That's delicious.
After, pretty smooth. 94.9 proof.
I'm about to black out in here. Can I take my shirt off, or is it too soon? That is so good. I thought the sweetest one that I had before this is, I'm sure you've had Angel's Envy. I don't.
Yes, we have. We have Angels Envy.
That's kind of like a sweeter one. They say
Right.
candy in a glass or whatever. But this is extremely sweet. I know this is whiskey, but I guess no. You said 3 bourbons, right?
There are 3 bourbons in here. Yeah,
And the
all,
only-
all from Kentucky.
The difference is what, like the percentage of like wheat or something, right?
Yeah,
it's
well,
like 51.
In all 3 of these, they've got the mash bill. There's that's what I'm saying. That's why it's so interesting when they blend all this stuff. and find something remarkably tasting like this is, like the one that's 56, the 4 years got 70% corn, 18% rye, 12% malted barley. The 3-year-old is 60% corn, 26% rye, 10% wheat, 4% malted barley. And the 11-year-old is 75% corn, that didn't surprise me, 13% rye, and 12% malted barley. So yeah, they're mixing whiskeys and mash bills, and
Now, the more corn, the sweeter it is. Is that the rule? Yeah.
that's for me. It is, yeah.
And then those Angel Envy ones, they like put in like cherry or wine casks. To
Some
make
of
it,
them
like,
they do,
really,
yeah.
really sweet.
So good. I'm glad we got a great bottle.
Yeah, it's
So
delicious. I was
thank
actually
you, Rick.
Yeah,
It's wonderful.
Rick, you're the man. Your wife, though, questionable decision making. Yeah, that's fine. I was just at Buffalo Trace, though, like I was telling you.
Okay.
And the guy, I'm going to butcher the story probably, but they said the reason it even started was they were like giving away so many acres, like back in whatever, 18, whatever. And they had to, like, you got these acres of land, but you had to like bring so much corn to like the government or whatever. And the guy realized that it was easier to take the corn and just make it into like a drink versus like putting corn onto like big covered wagons and like take it in. And that's why he started like making bourbon and whiskey.
The happy accident.
Yeah, really.
But great one, yeah, because Buffalo Trace, the actual bourbon Buffalo Trace, is very affordable, as you know. But
If you can find it.
you can find it, it sells out so quickly because everybody knows how great it is, and it goes fast.
$26 or something.
Yeah, you're looking at a very depleted stock here. You look around, you see all these bottles. This is probably a third of what used to be here before
Very sad,
before the pandemic. Yeah, it's like.
Still a bunch.
Still a bunch, and
Yeah.
more
Yeah,
downstairs too. But yeah,
And outside and in
And
your
out-
room
yeah.
and in the shower.
I see that McKenna 10-year McKenna's been open since the last
it
time
has
I
been
I
open.
was here.
Yeah, I opened up the 10-year.
That's good stuff.
I opened up the McKenna. That's one of those things I'm talking about, Henry. As you continue to discover whiskeys, that McKenna was like $30 a bottle when it first came out. Then it won a bunch of awards, and now you can't touch it for less than $70 or $80 a bottle.
But is that because people are buying it at retail and then reselling it for $70?
No, that they actually bumped up
they
the
changed
retail
it.
price on that. Now, yeah, if you want to if I had not opened that bottle of McKenna on the secondary market, which I'm not a big fan of,
Yeah.
but it's there. Somebody would have bought it maybe for, I really want a bottle of McKenna. I'll give you $200 for it. So
It's
people-
like Blanton's where it's like $60 retail, but you can't find it, so you have to buy it secondary market, and it's like $200 or
there's
whatever.
a bottle right there, unopened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see that one.
Right on at the second, the top,
It's in the
tippity top,
box.
and then right behind
Oh,
it.
it's in the box. Yep.
Yeah, in the box. Yeah. In the box.
Very cool. That Sazerac rye, though, is from the Buffalo Trace Distillery
Yes,
as
it is.
well.
Yes, look at you.
And yeah, it's
Go ahead, continue. Continue.
That
Press
Buffalo
me.
Trace bottle is also from Buffalo Trace.
Yeah,
So you can
yeah,
do that. I
Yeah.
see the Whistle Pig back there, not from Buffalo Trace, but
Eagle
that's a
Rare on
nice
the bottom
one.
You like
Eagle
that?
Rare.
Eagle Rare, that's a Buffalo Trace one.
Look at you. Go. Go, Henry. Go, Henry.
Yep. Jack Daniels
That
is
has its
from
own
Tennessee.
section. That has its own
Right,
section.
That's where I stop.
That's because that's my everyday pour. Do you have an everyday pour? Do you have a favorite?
I don't have an everyday pour. No. I'm kind of not a degenerate by any means, but like usually whenever I start, I'm like slippery slope. Where's my shirt? You know what I'm saying? So like, if I did go every day, I would be living outside.
Right.
But I don't really drink that much. But when I do drink, it's usually like, let's have a party.
Let's do it. So you can't just. Well, tonight, you're sipping casually this evening. You can maintain that, right? Like you're not going to leave.
You're like,
here,
right?
You're,
Are you sure?
You're not going to leave here and going, well, this shit is on now. I got to go someplace else.
Yeah, next thing you know, I have like a track mark on my arm passed out in your yard tomorrow morning. You're like, we had one glass, dude.
I'm missing tooth.
We make jokes, but it's interesting because that lifestyle, the comedic lifestyle, can lead you down paths of destruction in respects to liquor, drugs, et cetera, et cetera. I know it's like a cliche, but it's a cliche
true.
because it's true.
I think that is because you get in front of whatever it is, 400 people, 1,000 people, whatever, 60 people, and you do so well, and that feeling of all those people laughing feels so good that whenever you get off stage, you're like, I need something because now I'm sad, right? And that's why I think dudes get into, doing drugs and drinking and stuff because they're just trying to mask the feeling of not feeling that amazing.
Try
So-
to keep the buzz going, basically.
Yeah, keep the excitement, keep the thrill in there, which leads me to my first real question for you tonight is how and why did you choose to get into stand-up comedy? What were you doing before that? And
I was
why
in
did
high
you
school
pick?
when I started.
You were in high school?
Yeah, I started at 17. So
No
I've done
shit.
It 29 now. So in August was my 12th year anniversary of doing
Well,
stand-up.
apparently you passed math.
Yes, yes. I started when I was 17, so I just actually had my 35th year of. So yeah, I started because I thought it was like the easiest way to get into like performing. Right, I wanted to be in movies. I didn't really know exactly how to do it though. And there was this guy named Bo Burnham that was like doing stand up
Why
and
is that
making
familiar,
songs.
Bo
He's huge. Bo
He's
Burnham's
a
huge.
legend, yeah.
He does stand up. He's made movies.
Yep.
He's directed movies.
Director,
He's-
writer. He has this new thing, sidebar called Inside. It's like 2 years old now, but he shot it during the pandemic.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
It's
Right.
all by himself. He like
Yes.
plays music and stuff. And he was just, a year older than me. But he was like on Comedy Central and stuff. And I'm like, well, if he's a teenager, I could also be a teenager and do this. So I just kind of started because I was like, this is the easiest way to get your foot in the door.
and interesting too when you think about early Bo. A lot of silly stuff.
Yes, and now it's a lot more like introspective and like kind of deep and heavy.
So when you started, were you silly or were you?
I think I'm still pretty silly.
But yes, silly and funny. But also, there's an intelligence to your humor that I really appreciate, and it's sometimes it's actually subtle, and you don't see
That's
it.
the best.
You don't see it coming.
Really?
Which is one of
cool.
my favorite things about you, and it's like all of a sudden you're like, oh my god, that's fucking hysterical, because from where he started and where he ends up.
Yeah, the first 6 minutes was silence, but how he got to that one, oh my gosh.
I mean, you know what I'm trying to say.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's another
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
too.
yeah,
Why
yeah.
are we so self-deprecating as comedians? Why can't we take a compliment?
'Cause I
I'm
feel
trying to
like-
give you a compliment and you're fluffing
Brushing
it
it
off.
off. Yeah. Well, I thank you for the compliment. But I think we do that just because, like, it'd be weird if I was like, keep complimenting me.
Yeah,
Hey,
more.
Facebook Live or whatever, Then it's like, this guy's into himself, So you have to kind of be like, oh, no.
That's why I'll mention, I'll name drop Jason Banks. I'm never sure because he always said like, give me more, man.
Yeah,
yeah, he
But
leans
I
into it.
He,
It's
he,
just
leans,
kinda
he
funny.
leans into it, but then I never know if he's just doing it for fun or actually he wants it. I
think a little bit of both.
Leaned into. I don't,
right,
I don't
yeah.
know the proper.
I think the second one leaned.
leaned into.
Yeah.
Leaned to. Yeah.
No, you're right. Like the instant
Lent.
laugh is great.
That's
but
not a word.
if you're thinking about the jokes or the punchlines after the set or a couple minutes later, I think that's a sign of a good performer, not even a comedian.
Yeah,
if
if
you're
they
still
remember
thinking about it.
that's good. Like if they come up and they're like, "That thing you said about this was great."
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Whenever they like don't remember you at all, you're like, "Ooh, I had a bad set tonight." Probably.
Too many times, I've been to stand-ups where you're just laughing the whole time, but you're like, oh, I couldn't tell you one joke he said though. Like it was funny, but I don't remember it.
But see, my mom used to tell me, or she still tells me about whenever I was like, growing up and stuff, that I would be able to like listen to somebody or like watch a comedian or like listen to a song or watch a movie and then basically just be able to like recite it back. Like I can just still like hear something one time and if I like it, I can basically remember it word for word, which is kind of...
That's amazing. That's a gift.
But see, like, so back to you complimenting me, saying how great I was or whatever.
Back to that.
Yeah, you said like the smart thing, right? People will be like, oh, wow, you seem really smart. And I think that's nice, but like, I can't even really read, So it's just like, there are levels to it. Yes, I can talk and yes, I can, be funny or whatever. But like, if I had to read out loud for you guys, you'd be like, this guy needs help,
Some anxiety right there.
Yeah.
Are you joking a little bit? Are you exaggerating?
I like to say I'm mildly illiterate, but yeah, like I can read,
I
but
know what you're
like,
saying,
yeah, but honestly, I was thinking the other day, if I could go crush anywhere in time, it would be in like 7th grade language arts class when you would like have to stand up and read out loud.
Right. Yeah.
I used to just get roasted by my friends so much because I'd be like tee oh the okay cool, and like if I could just go back and like read a paragraph out loud for the whole class, that would be great.
With a really cool accent,
And I'm going to keep going. Where'd that come from? Why did you not develop that skill? Like,
Reading?
yeah, and basically, I mean, I know you can read, but what you're saying, sounding out words in the 7th grade.
Yeah.
That-
Even still, like when they're like, "Oh, just read the phonetic version," I'm like, "How do I read backwards K's? I don't know what that noise
So are
sounds
you
like."
dyslexic, perhaps?
That's
I am. So I have the same struggle. It sounds like you have.
maybe, like I think if we could go back to school and I could have like somebody read the questions to you and like then take the test.
You might have been done.
Oh, I would have done much better.
So I was telling you, I got kids 10 and 7, and the way they're teaching them is completely different than how you and I learned. Like, there's all new, phonics foundations, and the math is all backwards and different. Like, so I think the teachers were trying hard with us, but we were had an uphill battle anyway.
Well, I think people just learn stuff as they keep doing it more, right? So,
Yeah,
whenever we were in school, it's like, this is the best way.
It was
they
practice,
thought it was.
repetition, memorize how to spell this fucking word. Don't know how, figure out why.
And
how.
I guess the reason I keep hounding it is I think if reading was a huge part of my life. I mean, books were my friends. I was isolated a lot as a kid, so books and movies were my buddies and my companions. And if I couldn't pick up any book off the shelf, there's books everywhere. I mean, I'm sorry, but I feel bad that you can't pick up a book and
do. It'd just be a lot slower than you would.
Enjoy it.
One of my sisters, she's insanely smart. She'll read like a 500-page book in just like a few hours. Like she can just go.
No, I can't do that.
I mean, she's a freak. What's up, Charlie? But she can just. Yeah, I mean, she's very, very smart, and I can. It would take me, I don't know how long. I mean, a joke, 10 years to read 500 pages. But honestly, if it was like a 500-page book, I could do it. And I do like to read, but it's just like, slower, which is fine.
That's okay. That's good. So, you're life smart. You ain't book smart.
I think I would be, life smart.
Yeah.
Common sense
Why do
is
you
pretty
think you're
good.
life smart?
Street smart, yep.
I think because...
Well, there's a difference between life smart and there's a difference between street smart and there's a difference between book smart, which
All right.
We've eliminated book smart.
Yeah, take that one out. Even though I'm good
taking
with
it up
geography.
Yeah.
I can do geography.
Okay, I suck at geography.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at geography. The spelling thing, you were saying learn to spell. But I have a British stepdad, so he would help me with spelling bees and stuff. But he's adding extra U's in
Yeah, I
his
was going to
words,
say,
so-
they throw in extra
Oh,
letters.
so I
Pronounce
failed
shit
that.
differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Aluminium.
yeah, I know. It's awful, but he still sounds cool. But he's been in America for 35 years, and he'll still turn it on when he's talking to someone. And I'm like, Richard, you don't talk like that. Come on,
Come on, Richard.
They find me charming.
yeah. But I don't know why I am life smart or whatever. I think maybe because I was opened up to a lot of stuff from a young age. Right, I had a British stepdad, so we got to travel a bunch.
Okay.
I
That
have
would definitely form
open,
and shape
yeah,
you.
for sure. And my dad, who definitely is also not really book smart, he's he's an auctioneer, right? So I'm also an auctioneer, and he just has has always been running this business. So I think maybe I learned some the hard work from him a little bit. So it was my mom's side was kind of artsy and travel and see stuff, and then this other side from my dad was hard work, stay focused on things like that. So I think it was a nice mixture.
Sure.
Cool. Cool. And street smarts? Did you?
I think I'm good with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm always worried about somebody jumping us though. So that's why I'm kind of I'll go somewhere with my girlfriend or my sisters or something, and I'm always head on a swivel essentially. These guys, we were in Amsterdam, and I'm these dudes are gonna take us, So it's always trying to be.
You never know, man.
No, to this day, if I go into even the bars that I frequent, and I go someplace, I always check out the room.
You
and
should.
I seldom. I know it sounds corny, but I seldom have my back to the entrance of any place.
Situational awareness, right?
Yeah, right. Always, just to this day, I've always been that way.
When I was at Pittsburgh not too long ago,
At Pittsburgh or in Pittsburgh?
in Pittsburgh,
Okay.
at there and in there, we were you got to
He's
cross.
smart.
You got to cross the bridges, you go back
There's
and
so many
forth.
bridges. I used to have this joke. Sorry, it was more of a
Yeah.
tweet, but it was Pittsburgh. Yeah, right. More like Bridgeburg. Am I right? But okay, you can go.
Okay. Well, real smart dude.
Yeah.
No, I'm walking and we're just randomly walking with these people and I was like, I gotta go pee, and they're like, well, you should just pee over the bridge, and they were like wanting me to like pee over the bridge, and I've just felt really weird. I'm like, I know you, because I thought they just wanted to look at my penis.
Yeah, no,
I
they
just
wanted to
was-
see you get arrested.
Yeah,
That's
it just-
why.
I-
They wanted, yeah.
Yeah, it was just
Did
really
you?
weird. No, I did it because I was like, you guys are forcing me to stick my wiener through this gate, over the bridge. I don't want to do it.
With all the locks, you got to get past the locks.
So I didn't do it.
Have you ever peed off a bridge?
Yeah, not that one though. Not
Okay.
that night.
Cool.
Not that night.
But I guess my point was like I was really freaked out by these people who are like so encouraging to pee off a bridge.
What's the old joke about two guys peeing off a bridge? What's that old?
I don't know that old joke. Do you?
And one says, "This bridge is pretty tall," and the other one says, "Yeah." I forget. It's about the water being cold or something.
I've heard variations on the
Yeah,
theme
yeah,
of
yeah.
that joke.
So
Yeah.
sorry, just move on.
I kind of want to dig into it. Okay,
Sorry, I
so
fucked that one up. big.
it's all good.
Do you remember your first gig? First paid gig?
Well, first paid one was not the first one. The first paid one, I did a thing for the Red Cross. They had like this not festival really. It was like a fundraiser, and it was at a life center, an SOMC life center. And there was like a bunch of people, and they had this guy coming in that used to open for like Larry the Cable Guy or something like that. And they were like, want to do like 30 minutes before him. And I was like, yeah, I was a senior in high school, and they paid me $150.
Wow.
And I took that money and I went and bought Beats headphones basically
Right.
instantly. And my dad was like, you got to save that. And I was like, well, I already spent it. So
Yeah.
good luck.
Okay.
But yeah, that was the first like paid one. The first time I ever went was at a place called Wily's.
Down in Dayton.
Down Dayton. Are you from Dayton?
No, I'm from a place called Minford, Ohio. It's like 20 minutes outside Portsmouth, so like pretty country. But wasn't even old enough to go to the show, so my mom had to take me, and we like went together, and it was a piggyback show, which you guys know what a piggyback show is, but there's no host. Like the next comedian brings on the next comedian. Oh, sorry, yeah, the comedian brings on the next comedian.
Yeah.
So, like my time's coming up and I'm getting excited for it. And I had this great opening line and I was going to say, hi, my name's Henry. Thought that was just fucking great, So they were like, Henry Allen. And I went up there and I grabbed the microphone and not even kidding, I was like, that. And like kind of like folded at the waist and then kind of like just came up and was like, wow, like off to a horrible start. And then kind of just like blacked out and like did the act, and it was fine, I'm sure, but it was a lot of like high school stuff. And, like, yeah, it was.
Well, you recovered.
I did recover. Yeah,
You recovered.
but yeah, I did stuff about like being in health class and like where do babies come from and stuff like that.
So when you started out at 17 years of age, well, like in a lot of really famous comedians started at young ages like that,
fingers crossed.
Yeah, right, and went on to great careers. So, but you kept it. So you weren't writing jokes per se outside of what you were doing and how you were living. You wrote about what you knew. At
exactly.
that particular point.
And that's how I kind of stay true to that still. Like, I believe, which I know at that last Realtor Standing dinner we had, the advice that I gave the realtors was be honest. Because, like, there's nothing worse than someone that's, like, making stuff up to be like, oh, and this will be funny. Like, if you're thinking that this is going to be funny for this person, it's not going to be funny.
Right.
But if you're like, this is something honest about me and I think it's kind of funny, that's usually the stuff that works out.
And it comes out. It shows itself. I mean, you can tell. I mean that's what I do.
They've been preaching that in radio and everything.
Everything
You
I've
can
ever
connect.
written has been, granted, exaggerated at times because that's comedy.
Sure.
You take, but the situations have always been steeped in some sort of truth.
Yeah,
and
write
maybe-
what you know. That's what they
and
always-
exaggerated from there, and then you try to find the humor and or the sadness, and even the sad stuff comes out as funny sometimes too.
But sometimes you're like, man, this sad stuff's gonna be so funny, and then you do it, and people are like, that's really sad.
That's we
like
missed
your
the funny
dad hit
part.
you hard, huh? I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, it was funny
Yeah,
though.
but
Come
but you didn't hear the other
on.
part, right?
Yeah.
You just focus on the fact that my dad beat me. No.
Yeah, no, it's the other side of
Yeah.
that. That's the funny stuff.
What comedians were you like into? For me, because I'm closer to your generation a little bit older than you, like Adam Sandler, that crew. Who were you into?
So Bo Burnham for sure.
Yeah.
But the reason I even wanted to do stand up was I saw a Kevin Hart special.
Okay.
It was called A Grown Little Man, and I watched that in my mom's living room with one of my sisters, Jessica. And I was like, didn't even know stand up was a thing. Like I remember watching SNL, like because my parents did, but I didn't get it. I was
Right,
like, wait,
yeah.
what? There's like what? I just couldn't wrap my head or comprehend on like what was going on.
Nobody can still.
Yeah, well.
I actually thought last week's episode was
very good,
Was
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of
You've been,
funny.
you've been talking about Drunk Uncle since Saturday.
Drunk Uncle and just other sketches were
The
actually.
Joker was good too.
Joker was really good. I was like pleasantly surprised because now I go in with such low expectations most of the time because it's been on for 40 years
Right.
Sure.
plus,
Right.
almost 50 now.
The
I think.
Joker.
Yeah.
He kept saying,
Yeah, it's like Joker. I want to be Joker, and it's like you can't be Joker. It's my wedding. It's like, but it's Halloween. I'm gonna be Joker.
but it's the way you said it was so weird.
It was so
They
funny.
all said it like terribly.
But it's funny because there was something like there's little things, little devices that comedians come across, and that was definitely like the repetitiveness
Right.
of that. That's what was so funny.
Saying it wrong.
And hearing it over and over again from different people and different inflections, and you kept thinking like, when's this going to get old?
Right.
And it didn't. It
No.
kept staying funny, which I find devices like that and techniques like that, be it sketch comedy or even in stand up, amazing. I mean, the if you want to, for lack of a better description, the science of it all.
And there is a science.
There is a
like
science.
a formula that you can follow. And for someone that's mildly illiterate, I love words. Like I do, which is kind of weird because
See, that's why I guess I was so blown away by the fact you said you have difficulty or you don't like to read or you takes because you
just
are,
out loud for like a group of people. Like if they were like, go do 30 minutes of stand up, great. But if they were like, read a chapter out of a book, I'd be like, ooh, this is
No,
gonna be
that's
tough.
not happening.
I'd still try, but
So that's why
I'll
I was
cry.
having a hard time not seeing the two worlds connected because you do.
And I mean, I'm a
Remarkable
writer
job
as
with
well, so it's like crazy to me that people are like, "Hey, will you write this thing for us?" I'm like, "Yeah, but as long as I don't have to read it, you know what I'm
can write
saying?"
it,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, just like the way they're pronouncing, you pronounce certain words, or you can have a joke about your stomach, but if you say tummy, it's way funnier, you know. So it's just like,
Tummy is a funny word.
For
Yeah,
sure.
laughed
There's
right out loud.
certain words and inflections. I've shared this story on a previous podcast, but
then
but it-
don't say it again. No, it's
no,
fine.
I will say it again because
I haven't
it's
heard it.
germane to this particular conversation. But I was working with name dropper Jerry Seinfeld.
I met him
when he-
before. Yeah.
Jerry Seinfeld. He's an old guy.
some guy,
He's
yeah.
Okay.
Old guy. He used to do stand up and
The Ramada.
yeah. Not the Ramada. He was actually at the Funny Bone. I got to open up for him.
That's cool.
And I did this bit, and he afterwards we were sitting in the green room, and he goes, "I like the bit about the motorcycle. Motorcycle's a really great bit. I think it's going to be your first TV bit." It wasn't, and I go, "Funny you mentioned that bit because I did it last night. This is before he got there. I go and it didn't work, and tonight it killed." And he's shaking his head. He goes, "You changed something." He's talking about the he goes, "You either left out a word or you emphasized a different syllable. You did something different that changed the dynamic and structure
That
of
made it not work.
the joke." And it's that mechanical
For sure.
and scientific at times. That's something
Which
a
is
lot of people
awesome.
don't
Because
realize.
for me, I just think you guys just get up there and wisecrack the whole time, but it can be so pinpoint.
Right.
And by the way, if you want to see the motorcycle bit, it is on Whiskey Business with Dean Erpotis on
God,
YouTube.
Yeah, he actually found that bit.
Yeah.
He found it. It
I
was
recorded that bit for a documentary we did, 30 years ago?
yeah.
Yeah.
With that never saw the light of day, but
version is it? The one that bombed? Or
no, it was actually I was trying it out. I think I might have been trying it out for the first time.
It was at the Funny Bone.
Because it was at the Funny Bone.
Yeah.
It was an open mic at the Funny Bone, and I think I was trying new material, which I did constantly back
Sure.
then. Just get up there and just, that's the part I want to ask you this too. I had no fear back then. You
Sure.
know, I was
Do you
30
have fear now, you think?
Yes. Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
Yes. I mean, I always would get nervous before I went on stage, but I had no fear in what I was going to say and no worries if it bombed. I mean, I was nervous, just the fact that, you know, and I still get nervous. And I think I will dread the day that I don't get nervous because that means that I'm on some different stupid level. And not
Yeah, you don't
connected.
care anymore. You're just like, whatever.
Yeah, no, that'll never happen. But no fear, just go up. And now it's like, now if I write something down, like, oh, yeah,
Is that? I mean, because you've reached a level of
I don't know.
success.
Well, no, not on a level of success. I don't do it as much. You will attest to this. Comedy is a muscle that constantly needs to be worked.
Yes. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. And the less you do it, obviously, you're not as good. But like, it's crazy. You'll do like a run of shows, right? You have like 8 shows in 4 days or something. And the first show you do, you're like, oh, that's fine. That was good. They laughed at this or whatever. But then by like, you know, the 5th show or whatever, it's just like insane. And you're like just very fine tuned and you're just like going bang, 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 bang. And it's like some of the best stuff, like that last Realtor Standing show last week. You know, I was just the week before, I was like in Austin doing stuff. So I just like felt good about it, right? And then whenever I came there and I saw the people that like, they're not a normal comedy club crowd, which is what I kind of like to do. Like I'll open for like YouTube guys or like guys on Instagram or whatever who are like comedians, but they don't do stand-up. They're more like just do silly voices or whatever. And like those people that come to watch those shows, they're just like happy to be there. Like because I do the Funny Bone a lot in Columbus, and I'm always worried that I'm gonna do something and someone's gonna be like, I saw you 2 months ago and you did that, you know. So when I do these things like Last Realtor Standing or for something that's like a kind of a specialty audience, I get extra excited because I'm like, nobody here
Fresh crowd.
knows what I'm about to say.
Right.
So I kind of knew, I was like, I'm gonna catch this bitch on fire, dude. I knew it was gonna be crazy, like just leading up to it, you know?
Yeah, and it was a great set. You
Yeah.
had a great set, and I felt the same way. I mean, I sat here, the other notebooks in the other room, but I actually wrote out my set, and in that set were like 3 things that I've never.
You were talking about new stuff.
Never did on stage before. I mean, you know, so
Yeah.
it was, and I copped the attitude like, well, I don't do this for a living anymore. Well, I care if it bombs or if it, but if it works,
Yeah.
then I still get,
use
I
it.
still get that little bit of a rush. Does
Yeah,
it
you
piss-
came in the next day and told us something that worked. I forget.
Yeah, I
what it
was
Like-
very happy.
Yeah,
I was like
yeah,
a kid.
yeah,
I was
yeah,
bragging. I was like, so happy that something worked.
So is that your process, Dino? You write the joke out and then try it out on stage, or do you write like keywords and phrases that
It depends.
spring your mind, and then you work on it on stage?
If I'm serious about it, for some reason I was that night. I was serious about it. I will actually write it out like I'm talking,
Sure.
and then I will condense it into bullet points, and then I will take the bullet points and just turn it into a little card with just 1 or 2 key words, you know, to remember
Yes.
the order and whatnot. So yeah,
But it's still rehearsed, like you're talking about. You want to hit the
hit the
beats and hit the
yeah.
the
And I knew,
emphasis on
and I
the
knew,
right,
and
yeah.
I could tell you right now, I knew exactly even that night that I had missed it. I knew where I had missed my beats. I don't do it on a regular basis, but I still have enough experience to know that, oh man, I didn't hit that beat.
Well, that's
didn't
any
do this
performer. You
beat
go off the
and
stage,
so
"Ah,
forth." So,
I blew
and
that,
I wish
whatever.
I had the opportunity to get right back on stage the next night and do it again and get it
Yeah.
right, but I don't. And I don't. Does it piss you off that you mentioned that, you know, you open up for these Instagram and these YouTube acts who aren't really comedians but have developed, and this is where we talk about the business of comedy 44 minutes later, but that's okay, I don't care. The business of comedy, which is in the last few years, it's leaned towards that. Comedy clubs are booking these YouTube phenoms and these Instagram
Because they can sell
phenoms.
400 tickets.
Right. But do they have the time? Do they have the show?
No.
They don't.
Not usually.
Not some do, but
Yeah, some do. And that's why, you know, with Jason, he was doing stand-up for like 15 years.
Right.
And then got all this huge following. And then now people are like, oh, he's the dude on TikTok. It's like, well, not really. He's
No.
actually the best comedian you've ever seen. You know?
Right.
So it's like that on the other end where these people didn't work on it for 15 years, they sell 400 tickets, and then people show up and they're like, what the fuck is this? You know, that happens all the time.
so they're grabbing the gold while they can.
For sure.
Yeah.
But a lot of it too is just like people want to support, right? There was this lady that came through to the Funny Bone a few years ago, and I did like 15 minutes before or whatever, and her time was just awful. I mean, it was just like silence, but people still waited out in line. They wanted to buy her $35 hat. They wanted to get a picture for another $20. I'm like, well, it's good for you.
Let me defend them just for a second, because my buddy is a teacher up at Marquette, and he teaches journalism. And he says these kids come in and they don't want to write for a newspaper. They don't want to be a journalist. They want to fucking be a YouTube star. So like there's this mindset of these kids who are cool with that, and they want to do that, and they shoot for that. I guess I'm just saying that's you have to take that in consideration. That there's
take it into consideration, but I'm asking him from a performing standpoint, and a guy that's been doing it for 12 years and has worked hard and crafts his show, his words,
For sure.
his timing, debates whether or not to say stomach or tummy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a psycho. For sure.
No, but that's important.
Yeah.
So does that piss you off? Do you get angry? Do you get
I don't get
frustrated?
angry, no. Now, if there was like somebody that they like hired instead of me, right? It was like me or this like YouTube guy, and they were like, we're going to go with the YouTube guy because he's better for whatever reason. And then you see them and they're like up there, sweating, and they're supposed to do 20 minutes and they're 6 minutes in. They're like, all right, thank you, good night. I'd be like, that kind of sucks. But no, I don't get mad at them. I mean, I don't really get mad at almost anything.
Does it maybe inspires the wrong word? Does it encourage you to maybe I need to move into this YouTube, Instagram world a little bit more?
Definitely. I need to be on like the Instagram side. YouTube would be cool. And I do some stuff with my friend Adam. Like he's popular on Instagram and has like a few 100,000 followers or whatever, and so we'll like do sketches and stuff, and that's like fun. There's a guy named Trevor Wallace who is kind of inspiring me. He's like a sketch guy, right, but he also does stand-up. So I have like all these like stand-up clips banked, right, of like doing crowd work and stuff that people like to see on TikTok, on Instagram. And then we also have these other sketches too that I've done with my friend Adam. So my plan is like do these sketches and put those out, and people are like, wow, these are just really funny sketches. And then after that you do a stand-up clip and people are like, oh shit, they also do stand-up.
Okay.
So
right.
now we got to go see this guy.
So you hook them, and then once they're on the hook, you this is what I'm really about.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
And I don't even know if that's really what I'm about, stand-up. I have done it for 12 years. I mean, I love doing it, but like what I'm about is, you guys know Workaholics, the show Workaholics, or like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yep. Great
like
show.
What I'm about is like writing a television show or like a show and like starring in it, and like, or like doing movies where you're like writing, directing, acting in them.
Sure,
that's what I'm about.
That's what I've always appreciated about him. Theater, movies, whatever it is.
I was a big
just love
thespian.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah. And you mentioned Bo. When you started out, you were a big fan of Bo. And yet I haven't heard you mention the fact that you incorporate music early on.
Yeah, so I'll do, so actually one of the worst shows that I've ever done. I brought in music into it. I opened for this country music singer, and because I was like, oh, they want to see a country music singer, I had this mandolin, and I couldn't play the mandolin. But I was like, the song will be so funny, it won't even matter. It mattered big time, it wasn't even plugged in, I'm just like whatever, strumming it. I had this big thing because it was like right on the border of Ohio and Kentucky, but then West Virginia, they have people from there too. So I had this thing, it was like a Kentucky love song. And then the big like joke was like, I'm in love with my sister, right? That was like the whole thing. It was like, oh, their eyes are beautiful, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I'm in love with my sister. And people were like, I don't like this guy at all. And then I was like, well, here's a West Virginia love song. And I did the same kind of song, only the big like punchline was, I'm in love with my dog. And it was like licking your dog's mouth or whatever. And people were like, boo! They were like screaming. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
I love my dog, and I kiss my dog all the time, fucker.
Exactly. But I still do music stuff now. Like my friend Austin, he's like an insane musician, right? He can play anything. And we did a show a couple weeks ago. We did like an hour and 10 minutes, actually. We had 30 minutes of like songs that we had written
I've
together.
never seen you do music in your show. I've only seen you do stand-up.
But I can't sing or really stay on rhythm at all. But just I love to like
He's
freestyle.
got great presence.
Yeah, the whole thing. Just-
I'm detecting a theme.
Yeah.
I can't read. I don't have rhythm.
But I just do it,
sing.
and it's fine, you know. But my friend Austin, he can sing. He's got insane rhythm. So we like had about 5 songs that we did, and then also we took suggestions from the audience because I love improvising. That's like my favorite thing. And people would be like, "Oh, do a song like Elvis about a lawnmower," and we would just do a song like Elvis about a lawnmower.
So your improv skills, you got mad skills. When it
I
comes
would
to
say
improv?
that's probably the best thing that I can do. is,
Really?
like, yeah.
Are
And
you
then
gonna-
after that would be like sketches and then stand up.
and then stand-up.
Mm-hmm.
But you're making most of your living as a
Stand up
stand-up.
comedian, yeah.
So the thing you do, the third best, is what's paying most of the
They
bills.
go back to the business of it. Like
Yeah.
that's where the gigs are, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, so I do some work writing for my friend who I was in Austin with. So there's
Okay.
like some there, but yeah, definitely stand up pays basically all the bills. You know, I am an auctioneer too, family auction business.
You
but
mentioned
it's-
that earlier. You actually do auctioneering. You do like the hey, blah, 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 the whole.
Yeah,
the-
well, that was Hey Batter Batter. I don't know what you're about
well,
to do,
yeah,
but
I'm not an
I
auctioneer,
get it,
but you
yeah.
know what I mean.
Yeah, it's called
You do-
chanting. yeah.
Chanting. You actually do that.
Do you have a bit about it on stage?
Not
my
really.
God,
I
that's a
actually
missed
do have this
opportunity.
new joke.
Sell this coaster right now.
No, but I'm not going
That's
to.
why I like Henry Allen. That's why I like Henry Allen. Any other comic would have been saying like, "Oh, okay, I gotta really perform right." You go, "No, fucking no, I'm not
No,
doing
I'm
it."
good.
No, that's awesome. No,
no.
I refuse.
But I mean, I've done auction jokes in the past. You know, I did have this one that I wrote when I was in Austin that I did a few times that worked pretty well. I would be like, you know, as an auctioneer, there's this thing that you can do where I can tell you any number after any number, and I would just point to someone in the crowd and be like, say any number, and they'd be like 9, and I'd be like 10 real fast just after that, and they'd be like pretty crazy, right? So that was like kind of fun to do. But as far as like, I wish I had like a half hour on auction stuff, but I don't really.
You know.
That's a skill. That I mean, in its own right, doing the
That's hey, better, better. That's hey,
Yeah,
better,
yeah,
better.
you can call whatever.
That's hey, better, better.
Hey, better,
That's
better.
what I learned tonight.
Yeah.
Hey, better, better, better.
But yeah, my grandpa, he was an auctioneer, started this family business in 1970. My dad's done it his whole life, basically. And then I got my auction license when I was like 19.
You need a license
Yeah. You can sell your own stuff, but you can't sell other people's stuff.
unless you got a license.
Yeah.
Is there like is there a school?
There's tons of schools. I actually went to the Missouri Auction School.
There's a
which is where
school. There's an actual auction.
Yeah, there's
auctioneer
several.
school.
There's one here in
There is?
Columbus, yeah, by a guy
you
named
went
Mike
to the Missouri
Brantley.
one.
Yeah, I went to the same one my grandpa went to and my dad went to, which is like the #1 auction school in the country.
So when you came to that school, you were like a legacy. Yeah.
I was more like had a fake ID and was like, let's get drunk in St. Louis, you know? Like we went to we went to Cardinals games and like jazz bars and stuff. That's a Bengals hat, but
Oh, is it?
yeah.
You were
The one time I don't wear my fucking Cardinals hat. I'm a big
Yeah,
Cardinals
my mom's
fan.
from like a small town called Mascoutah, Illinois, outside St.
Yeah,
Louis, so
okay.
she's a big Cardinals fan.
Yeah, I grew up
Did
Cardinals
you
fan.
have an
Belleville,
issue?
Illinois.
Did you
Oh,
have
she knows Belleville.
an issue? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No,
you.
it's
You're
all
an
good.
auctioneer
We're done,
talking
we're
your
done.
baseball talk. But I'm trying to do a podcast.
Issue with what?
Did you have an issue when at the height of political correctness? Did that affect your show and some of the things that you say? And did you catch any grief for some of the things that you said? I mean, it seemed like there was a period of time where the audience was waiting to pounce on something inappropriate or racist or sexually wrong or politically incorrect, call it whatever, go down the list of things.
Sure.
Did you ever experience that over the last few years?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The worst that it probably was is I opened for this guy named Casey Fry, who's like a TikTok guy, Instagram, whatever, doing stand-up, right? Sold out crowd at the Funny Bone. This was maybe like the beginning of this year, probably.
Okay.
And, I did great. Did a half hour before him, and it was like honestly one of the best sets I've ever had in my life. I was like, that was amazing. I get on my Instagram after I had 50 followers from the people that were just watching. I was like, holy shit, this is insane. And I went to a comment that I had on my picture. And there was this girl that wrote, couldn't make a single joke without degrading women. And I was like, wow. I have 6 older sisters. I do a lot of stuff about them, right? I have a bunch of girlfriend material about like, oh, she said the silliest thing or whatever. But I was like, I wasn't degrading women. And that like seriously like messed with me for like 2 days. And I was like really sad about it. My girlfriend was like, fuck that girl. Like, who cares? Like, she obviously doesn't know like what's going on. Like, she was just hearing what you're saying, but like not
listening.
Yeah. And like my mom always told me growing up, like there are no bad words, just bad thoughts. So you can be like, hey, stop being a bitch, you know? But if you're like, you're a fucking bitch, like those are two different things.
Intentions.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all about intention. And my intention is never, ever from like a mean place, like ever. So the fact that this girl was like, that's all from a mean place. And he's talking horribly about his sisters and his girl. Like, I'm like, it was kind of sad, but then I was like, fucking who cares about that girl? And I hope she's watching. What's up? But yeah, I mean, it's crazy because everyone there had the best time ever, and they were, like I said, tons of people follow me. There was a line of people being like, that was hilarious, but you don't focus on them. You focus on the one person that was like, I didn't like that.
And it goes back to what I said earlier when I paid you a compliment. You kind of fluffed it off and you got a little self-deprecating. What is that? What is it that if there's 100 people in the room and 99 of them love you, you're obsessed with the one that didn't?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think it's just our feeling of just like wanting to make everybody like it. And if that one person doesn't, you're not like, oh, well, everyone else liked it. You're like, man, what could I have done to make that one person like it? But then it's like, well, if you're making that one person like it, maybe the other 99 don't like it all of a sudden. But then you're like, well, then how do I win back the other 99? Now that I got that one on my side, who knows?
To me, that's where you go back to do what you.
never-ending story,
You
though.
both have said it. Like, do what you know. Be honest. Like, because as soon as you're trying to adjust your story, your goof, your joke, whatever, to hit that
And
one
there's
person,
always
then,
someone that's not going to like it.
Yeah, and if you are honestly, and I think you know this, even though you obsess over that one person, if you're making 100% of the people happy 100% of the time,
You're Wayne Brady. You know what I'm saying? So
you know, you're just you're not breaking any kind
Don't
of
talk shit
personal
about my
ground,
boy,
per se.
Wayne Brady.
You're probably somewhere very, I don't want to say generic, but
yeah, you're doing like the clapter is what it's called now, where you're like, you know, you just say things that people are like, I agree with that. Yes. And I fucking hate that, you know, like one of my friends the other night was like, you know, he was joking mostly, but he was like, you know, I'm going to just pander to the audience for my time. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. And he did, but he was still like funny about it, which is great. But just like, I don't like whenever comedians just go out, say these things because they know people are going to be like, I support that. I'm going to clap. Like, we're not there to make people clap. I mean, if you get an applause break, that's great.
That's
you
great,
know?
yeah.
But don't get an applause break for being like, you know, just saying normal things that like everyone's like, no shit, we agree with that, you know?
I get it. It's you know, I went to Ohio State University, best goddamn music university in the world.
Exactly.
Right? You know, but okay, and if that's your lead, well, then you better have some really good jokes about having been at Ohio State. If that's what you're serving up, then you better back it up with some humor about being at Ohio State University that's actually funny. But if you're just saying, I went to, you know, greatest university in the world, Ohio State University,
Right.
and then
We see that all the time. People come into town and they go, what do they just say to say OH? And they get the crowd going.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen someone though come in and not really know where they are? I saw Sean Kingston once at Ohio University, and he was like, Ohio State, and everyone was like, boo! Yeah. So it's always fun whenever you see the person that's like, oh wow,
What's up, Cleveland?
Yeah.
You're in Cincinnati, dude.
and it's
I've
crazy.
seen that.
Yeah.
I think I've done that.
Well, and that's a rock and roll joke. You know, the name of the city's written on the back of their guitar.
For sure. That was actually talking about doing stand-up when I was 17. That was a thing. I mean, it's very corny and cliche now, but it was like, oh, wow, it feels really good to be here. And I would like look at my hand and like read it off my hand. Yeah, pretty corny.
Where do you think it's going?
But it's funny.
Two questions, the twofold question. Where do you think comedy's going now? And are you on a path that is suitable and acceptable for you, or do you want to go someplace different with it? You mentioned the fact that you want to write and sketches, and stand up is third, but I'm curious, after 12 years, where are you, and what is it that you want to do?
Well, what I want to do is write a show or movie and then get that made,
Right.
and go be a part of making that. But I think that stand-up is it's kind of gone over the hump of like the political correctness. Like if you're still just like mean and not funny, then people are going to be like, that's not funny.
That's not funny.
But like if you are coming from a good place where it's not like a hateful place and you can make fun of stuff. I mean, whenever I was in Texas, like they wanted to hear like crazy stuff, like they wanted shocking stuff. They wanted you to talk about things that in Ohio people would not normally. I mean, Columbus is kind of, for lack of a better term, just like, not like
They're progressive.
yeah, very progressive, so like to do a show in Columbus, like in the short north, I mean, you say something about like gay people are like, whoa, and you're like, well, the joke isn't about that, the joke is about whatever.
Yeah, stop half listening. Listen,
Yes.
listen to it all. That's what I was talking about. There was that time where people were just waiting for buzzwords or phrases to jump on, and that's all they heard. They didn't hear the rest of the fucking joke. As you said, it's not a joke about that. It's about this. But what I said, I said a buzzword. I said gay people, and they jump on something. Yeah, that makes
And
me
those
crazy.
people that
it
used
happens
to
in radio
go-
too.
Really?
Yo, God, yeah.
Do they have to call you on the rotary phone or what?
Yeah, they call up.
You gotta
They
stop
hear.
saying
They
gay people
half
on the radio.
listen. They half listen to something. They don't hear.
That whole stuff with Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, Chappelle's a good example.
But I think those people that were coming to look for that, right, looking for the buzzword to be like, now I have a problem, they're not necessarily coming as much anymore. People that are coming to the shows are the ones that are like, I'm tired of hearing all of that on the news, all of it on Twitter. It's like kind of draining. So we just kind of want to let loose and just have fun. And if you're coming from a good place that's funny, then that's all that matters.
And it seems like that Johnny and I were talking that key has been put back into the lock, and the lock is coming off, and we're unshackled again to a certain degree. It
Yeah.
seems, because you heard for the last couple of years that comics were afraid to, maybe not afraid is the wrong word, but reluctant to approach certain topics. Some not. Some didn't
Yeah.
give a damn.
Some like wanted to double down just because.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
right.
they're like,
The other
"Oh,
way, and some were, and it was very confining and very limiting. But it seems like those chains have started to
There's
become
somebody
unshackled a
that
little
just
bit.
got canceled, and I was like, it's been a minute since we've had a good cancel. It doesn't matter who it is, but I was like,
Who was it? Do you remember? Was it a comedian?
no, it was I won't remember, but it's like an actor or whatever. But I was like,
which is why I also
cancel.
I like, and you do the same thing, which is why I like to keep the comedy steeped in my truth.
Yeah, because I do say things
talking
that
about
are
me.
bad, right? I do have a joke where I say the F word, right? And I
Right.
usually say it, but since this is a family show, let me just take a drink of alcohol.
Fuck or what?
No. The
We
drug.
say that here all the time.
Yeah. But I was actually doing a stand-up show where a guy like called me that, yelled it out in front of everyone. So like I have a joke about that, right? But everything that I'm saying, it might be, people are like, whoa, like you're degrading women. I'm like, well, I'm actually telling stories about my sisters. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's like, there's a difference between
Huge.
that and like being like, wow, women,
women be tripping. It was Kanye, by the way. That's what I was thinking.
yeah.
Of. His stuff about the.
He definitely was,
Well,
yeah.
yeah,
He's
well,
canceled for real.
yeah,
I'm
like,
pretty sure.
But, yeah.
But you fucked up a little bit.
But it was like for a minute there was like twice a day there would be like, oh fuck, there goes
somebody said this,
else.
and somebody said that.
10 years ago, they said this.
And don't get me wrong, I think that people should be held like accountable for things that they've done, right? But I think that maybe someone that said something 15 years ago could like stuff that's taken out of context. You guys know who Shane Gillis is?
Yes,
So Shane Gillis, right, writer, comedian, going to be on SNL.
was yeah.
Yep. thing from a podcast came out where he did like an Asian accent. They were like,
So wrong.
absolutely not done. But it's like,
Dude, we would be so fucked if
Oh my
all of a
gosh,
sudden the whiskey business like we got picked up.
What are you saying?
Where they would go back and just find so much
sounds like
bullshit.
he's saying you say slurs.
I stand by every
I don't
podcast.
think anything happened.
I don't think anything. No.
Oh, okay,
That's
I
why-
would be fucked.
We have a thing on the we say because we tape these, and every once in a while we've gone live and we've done the remotes that were live during the pandemic and whatnot. But we have what thing called podcast remorse, where sometimes I've sat with a guest, and after we sat down after the podcast, they go like, you know that one thing I said, you think we
Can we
can
take that out?
Can we take that out, please? And I'm like, sure, of course we can. You know,
remember that thing I said about gypsies? Did we maybe lose that? Please? And you're like, you had a 12-minute great gypsy bit. You
I
know?
love black people.
yeah, take it out. No, but it happens, and we
I'm not
do.
taking that out with me.
I didn't say anything bad. I just,
Yeah.
No, but it's interesting how you just you got a little timid or a little like if they're only going to hear one word and they're not going to hear the rest of the joke. You know, it's I look at it now and I go, wow, I'm glad I'm not doing that for a living. But at the same time, like if I was doing it for a living, what would I do? I don't know. I don't always know, which is why, like I said, I try to just keep it about me. You want to cancel myself? No. You know, I'm making fun of my, lack of sexual prowess
Right,
at 63. I'm not talking about that guy, and,
Yeah.
I'm not blaming it on that woman. It's me.
And if you talk about you, it seems like, then there's really nothing wrong with that, right?
Right.
Because you're talking about stuff that you have done, you've learned, you've experienced. People can't be mad about that because then it's like, well, you didn't experience
Right.
it. Why are you getting mad at me for what I experienced? Like, that doesn't
Crazy.
really make sense. So I think that's dying a little bit. I have been saying that for like 3 years.
It's so
though.
funny because we're dealing with this bullshit at work all the fucking time.
all the time
It's the same.
on the radio. Yeah.
I don't even want to get into it, but yeah. Like, why?
Well,
are you,
thanks
why,
for bringing it up.
Why are you upset with me? No,
No,
it's
it's
like,
part- it's
yeah,
part of
why are
the-
you getting upset with me because I think this?
It's
And-
part of the business.
Don't get me wrong, I've made people upset before. Like, I've walked people. I did a show one time early on in my career where whenever I got off stage, I made a dude like walk out. He was by himself. He leaves. And then when I got off stage, the guy that was the host was like, you should probably go because he might bring a gun back. And I was like, oh, shit. Like,
Okay.
that's so, I mean, I've definitely made people mad for sure, but it's never like, it's always like, oh, what are you, stupid? Or what, or like something like that. Or like someone is, from like year 1 to like 6, I was very, okay, no, I take that back. From year like 3 to 6, I was very like aggressive. Like it was almost like me versus them, right? Like if I
Where'd
win
that
them
come
over,
from? What was that about?
I think it was doing stand up and like them not listening or giving me what I thought that I should be getting back from them. So it was like, if you guys are a good audience, that's cool. But if you're like not a good audience and you're like talking at your tables, like I would definitely
But
call
look at the
people
culture
out.
too, like the insult dog. I mean, you know what? Again, it's this time where you're growing up and doing it. Like, I think that was probably part of the norm.
But I think a lot of comedians, because I was doing a show in Dayton a few weeks ago, or I guess like a month now, with this guy, and there was a guy that was like hosting. I was like host, then me as the feature, then the headliner, and the host was like 6 years in, and he was like, I'm feeling like a little aggressive towards the audience, and the guy that was the headliner was like, around year 6, that's like when it happens, and I was like, dang, dude, for me it was like year 6 too. So I don't know if that's a bunch
It's
of
interesting. I never looked at the timetable on
What
that
about you?
before.
Any's
No, I just if anything, when it comes to stand up, I've told you this. I have regret, remorse.
not doing it more, or
Yeah, when I came took the job in 1994 at Sunny, I was at the peak of my, I'd done Comic Strip Live and a couple of other A&E shows, Comedy on the Road, whatever, and it was just, I was a fine-tuned machine.
What was your sweet spot for minutes?
For minutes?
Yeah, like to do a set, how many minutes was like your sweet spot? Like for me, like 15 minutes, I'll catch a fucking house on fire in 15 minutes.
I'm not bragging. I was doing the headliner spot was
45?
It was 45. It was, I mean, you know.
And you would just slam for 45 minutes straight.
No, it would start strong. It would probably level out here, then it'd have its peak, but I would always close
Strong.
so super strong. You know,
You're a storyteller having whiskey on
storyteller,
stage.
and there were different variations of what I was doing. I think I was actually trying at one point to create like almost like a one-man show type of thing in the confines of stand-up. There was one year at the Funny Bone, I actually dressed the stage and had a bar and a chair and stuff. I was doing stuff, but at that particular point in 1994, I had taken the Sunday 95 job, and I was at the Funny Bone the weekend before I was supposed to start. I was supposed to start on Monday and work with a guy named Bob Simpson, and I did the show, and he came to a Thursday night show, and it just rocked. It was just one of those great nights. And he comes up to me at the bar afterwards, and he's like, "Don't do it." I go, "Don't do what?" He goes, "Don't take the job." I go, "What do you mean don't take the job? I just moved back from California with all
For
my
the
shit
job.
for the job." He goes, "This is what you should be doing. This is what you should continue to do." And that haunted me.
Oh, yeah?
And it still haunts me.
I've heard
this
you
day.
say that.
Yeah.
To this
about
day,
30
it still
times.
haunts me. What if I would have had the balls to say, "All right, I'm not going to take the job."
Right.
But I was at a point in my life where I was going to get paid more money than I ever made on the road.
And Danielle was here.
Yeah, my daughter was here. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of factors that went into it. Ended up being a good decision because I've had a very successful and prosperous life in radio. But man, I wonder.
Yeah.
I wonder. And
You
it
probably
haunt-
will forever.
I
honestly.
will.
I've never asked you this. So, like, okay, 1984, 1994 to 1990, 2000. I mean, whatever. The radio heyday, right?
Right.
When you're in the middle of all that, were you? I guess hindsight's 2020 is my point. Like, when you were the king of morning radio here in Columbus, were you like, fuck, I should have stayed, in LA?
And can I ask a question on top of that?
Yeah.
When you were the king of morning radio, could you not do like?
No, I did.
Yeah,
I
like,
did.
I feel like,
You-
be like,
'cause you were
hey,
going
good
back and
morning.
forth.
The first 2 years of radio, I was actually going back to LA. I kept my spot in my apartment out in LA for the first 2 years.
Well, you were balling then. You just had that cash just to throw away.
Well, I was just, I wanted to go back, and I was doing regular sets at the Comedy Store.
That's
and I
so
was in the
cool.
main room at the Comedy Store. And I was
Wow.
like, I was going back there, and I because I did not
the
have.
original room or the main room?
I was in both.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if this is an old school comedian, a guy named Lenny Clark. I don't know if that name rings a bell to you.
I'm a little offended that you don't think I know who Lenny
Well, I
Clark
don't know if you
is.
know your
Yes.
history of older
Of
comics.
comedians, yes,
Of comedians.
I do.
I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't
yeah,
know.
I do.
Because I talked to a lot of younger comics, and I mentioned some old school guys
Yeah.
from back in, and they who?
Yeah.
But Lenny
They're
Clark.
like, my old school guy is Ron White. You're like, get out right now.
I love me some Ron White.
Well, I mean, yeah,
I
but
do
he's not an
too.
old school guy, you know?
I have got some great Ron White stories. I'll tell
Oh,
you sometime.
for sure.
Yeah.
Didn't you go canoeing with Ron White?
No, we went tubing.
Tubing?
Tubing down
That's
the
even
Guadalupe, tubing down the Guadalupe River when we were working in Texas.
As
That's
one does.
amazing.
Yeah, it just shroomed off our asses.
That's
Yeah,
even better.
yeah.
But yes, I do know who Lenny Clark is.
Yeah, well, he got me into the Comedy Store, and Mitzi took his recommendation.
Wow.
And thankfully, I followed through on that, and I worked the original room, and then she put me up in the main room pretty fast, and it was
Incredible.
Yeah, it was, and I kept going back, back and forth.
Is your name on the building?
No.
Okay, I was gonna say.
No, his name is not on the building.
Yeah.
No, I never got the sign.
That would be
on
really
the
sweet,
building
wouldn't
because
it?
that was a short. It was a short time. It was a
What's short? 6 months? 3
92
months?
to 94.
Oh, yeah, 2 years.
Yeah,
2 years.
Two
Oh,
years.
right.
Yeah, but the year 92 was like, I had to go on the road and work. I wasn't spending as much time, even though I lived in L.A. You wanted the status like, yeah, I moved to L.A. for my career, but you're still doing 30 weeks on the road. You're
sure.
still in
Road
Omaha,
warrior.
Nebraska, working the Funny Bone, and then going back to L.A.
Ramada.
Yeah, so it was crazy, but I'm saying, yeah, I kept doing it because that was the thing. And when I had vacation, I would go on the road. When I got vacation from the radio station, I would book.
Stuff on the road.
Stuff on the road.
You must have been tired, dude.
Thanksgiving week for like 3 years.
Well, the night before Thanksgiving's always a great night to do stand-up.
Right?
Everybody's cooking.
I would go to Omaha for like 3 years running. I would go and spend Thanksgiving in Omaha, Nebraska. And the manager of the club, I would have dinner at her house with her family and her kids, and it was great. That was my traditional Thanksgiving for like 3 years. So I would book gigs when I had.
Did you ever do
vacation.
like a small room here in Columbus? It was like a 70-seater or something, where it's like, I'm doing the radio show. That's what I feel like I would have done. I mean, I know it's easy for me to say that.
$300 tickets. Let's go.
No, even if it's even if it's a $10 ticket, that's $700.
I think about it, and Johnny and I have been talking about.
Project.
Well, and fuck, we did the Halloween podcast, and thanks so much to everybody that came there.
Yeah.
And
Not the same.
I know it's not the same, but there's an audience for it. And
an audience definitely is an energizing thing. I love doing those live shows in front of people because it feels that way. But we're talking about actually putting together
like a late night type of vibe.
Well, no,
not really.
No,
I want to do a project where Dino has no material, and he builds 30 minutes, and I want to follow that and see how that process
a new
works.
30 minutes
New jokes. That's the rule.
Yeah, no old jokes.
No old jokes.
Yeah.
Only new jokes.
Only new jokes.
Only new jokes.
Don't
But
say
I
that. 'cause I'm
want
gonna
to
hold you
film
to
that
it.
process of kind of finding your way with material and building that 30 minutes.
And that's what I was asking you about. Like, do you still go to the open mics and try out stuff? Do you still do that?
I'll try stuff out at like real shows.
At real shows?
Yeah.
Okay, so you just go
I don't
right
care
in.
what, and it kind of worries me because you were like, I used to be fearless, and then now you're scared of stuff.
Well, it's nervous, not
Yeah.
scared.
Yeah.
It's
Well, you
nervous.
said you used to be fearless and now you're a little baby. What was it? I forget the
Yeah,
exact
little-
quote. Something like that.
Crybaby.
Yeah. It was
big
a little,
pussy.
yeah. There was
Big
something.
pussy.
I don't know. Those were your words. I don't know.
Yeah.
But-
It's like my tummy. My tummy gets
My tum-tum.
My tum gets all nervousy.
Yes.
Is Tum Tum funnier than Tummy?
Tum Tum is funnier than tummy because it's a hard M tum tum.
What I want credit for, goddammit, is the callback.
Yes,
God damn it.
it's there,
I'm
it's there.
calling back a joke on a podcast.
Callback has a
worked
K
out.
sound. That's good.
Yeah, we'll give you credit. But I don't go to really open mics as much. I mean, I still will, but if I do an open mic, I'm basically making it all up right then. Like, I'll have like one idea that I'm like, oh, this will be okay, and then I'll just like do that, or I'll just like talk to the people there, because I really, really like doing crowd work, improvising, being like, oh, what do? You guys know each other, whatever. And like, honestly, because I got to be a host of the Funny Bone. I got hired when I was like 24, maybe 25, to like start like hosting there, right? Doing weekends, doing off nights, whatever. And they wanted you to kind of do, I'm sure like the celebrations. Is it anybody's
Who's got a birthday?
anniversary, divorce, whatever, and just like doing that for 2 years is just like you get it that gets pretty sharp, with it. So, and there were things that I would do that I still do that you'll like make up on the spot, and that'll get a bigger laugh than like a joke that you wrote. And I'm like, oh shit, like I just want to just do this.
You try to like work it back into the set.
No, because once again, it's about the timing. If somebody heckles you, I've discovered if somebody heckles you, it doesn't matter what you say back, it's how fast you say it back.
Faster the better.
Right.
I'll tell people that all the time because they're like, how did you say that back to that person? And I'm like, you're not even thinking. You just literally the first thing, you just say it. And like, because people want to be on your side.
They-
right?
Quick is fun.
You
do that with me all the time.
It is. I mean, if somebody says, you're an asshole, hey, dickhead,
asshole, you
and you
suck.
go,
Your mom.
well, you're a.
Yeah, but
No.
if you're like, you eat assholes, everyone's like,
oh
shit.
yeah, it doesn't matter what you said.
Yeah.
The fact that you said it quickly and boom, right then and then, that once again, we go back to the science and the mechanics of it.
Well, and even I've seen you where like you need not necessarily. I'm like, there's something too with the funny with the pause. You can do the look or like the. Don't even like this is so easy. I don't even want to handle it. Like
if somebody
says
something that's so bizarre, then you can kind of be like taken back by
This
it.
is so
the
easy
acting
for me.
skills
Yeah,
come
yeah,
out a
yeah,
little
yeah.
bit,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
performing.
yeah.
By the way, speaking of actors, anybody tell you look like a young Tony Perkins?
Who's Tony Perkins?
Ah!
I gotta look it up.
Mother psycho.
Is he bad?
Anthony Perkins?
Yeah, I don't
He
know.
was Norman Bates in Psycho.
Oh, I only know the new version of Norman Bates.
All right, yeah. You know,
yeah,
the-
can you pull up an Anthony Perkins picture?
yeah.
Someone told me I get that I sound like Ryan Reynolds a lot.
Yeah,
I get
I
that
hear
all
that,
the
yeah.
time.
You're less Canadian, Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, because I'm not as nice. I get it. I read through the lines.
Yeah.
I did have a girl one time tell me that I look like Justin Timberlake, and I was like, yeah, if he was in a fire. But yeah, no, look like I had a person tell me once that I look like Freddie Prinze Jr. And
Yeah,
I'm
a
like,
little bit.
let me see this guy.
Yep.
Okay,
It's
Let's
the
look at
eyebrows.
yeah.
Here,
the
look at the
eyes.
camera
And
there.
you got
yeah.
a beard going on right now, but
you got a beard picture of him, or?
Let me see
Yeah,
if there's
totally.
Anthony Perkins.
But that movie
Let's see with the
Psycho.
beard.
Wait, no, it's not Psycho. What was the?
Yeah.
Was it just called Psycho, where
Yeah,
he like wore his mom's skin or
Yeah,
whatever?
No,
Spoiler
not his mom's
alert.
skin. He actually
Yeah,
dressed
yeah.
up like his mom.
Oh, but he didn't wear her skin. It was just her clothes.
Her clothes,
Yeah.
yeah.
He killed her, right? Though, or
Yeah.
something. Chip's loving it.
Oh, I thought she just died.
Anthony Perkins.
Did you ever watch the new version of that? They remade it called Bates Motel.
Oh yeah, with the good doctor.
Exactly.
The-
yeah.
I can't remember
And,
his
and
name
the
right
gal
now.
from House of Dragons. She's in
Yeah,
House
yeah,
of Dragons.
yeah, yeah.
now.
It was
Dr.
No.
Oz? Is that what you're talking about, Dr. Oz?
She's not in House of Dragons.
Yeah.
Who
Which
is?
part is she? I just stopped.
The friend with the the oxygen tank is with the bad.
Oh, I
is
thought
the
you meant
bad
the
guy.
mom. I thought you meant his mom.
No,
was
the
in
mom is all in a
bunch of stuff.
A bunch of stuff. She's in like all the Conjuring movies.
Yeah, and she's also in like one movie that's called like with Leonardo
yeah, The
DiCaprio.
Departed.
Yeah, I was gonna say a D word. The
Yeah, she's a
Departed.
great actress. She's
Yes.
a great actress. But Bates Motel was fun. It was fun. You never saw Psycho, the original Psycho, with Alfred
No,
Hitchcock?
I don't like scary stuff.
It's,
really.
This is it's. I don't know if scary is the right word. Suspenseful.
I like suspense. I like bank robbery stuff, but I'm like a sucker for like a rom com. Like if you show me like a Vince Vaughn movie, I'm like, this is fucking funny.
Ironically enough, Vince Vaughn played
Norman Bates.
Norman Bates in the remake.
No, you swear?
Yeah,
What
he
are you
did.
talking
he did.
about?
And
Really? That's crazy.
Don't you
Yeah,
remember
and it
like
was,
2010?
He's too big, his frame's too
or
big.
something?
Wasn't it with
no, 2000.
the-
2000.
Shot for shot remake.
The
Shot
one-
for
the-
shot
the
remake.
gal who-
Shot for shot
for
remake.
shot
Yeah,
Hitchcock
totally.
remake, and it
was
and
the
yet
gal
it
who just died.
Yeah, the one that just. Oh my gosh.
Was
The one who just crashed into
Crane.
a house and
Oh,
and-
shit. Yeah, that girl.
Oh yes.
Why
Julianne Moore
No, not
was
Julianne
the
Moore.
sister.
She's
No,
still
no,
alive.
Julianne Moore was
Dina
the
got
sister.
so mad at that you even
Julianne-
would bring that up. He's like, you
No,
fucking
Julianne
idiot.
Moore was the sister.
Yeah.
Yes, she was. She was.
She was married to, goddamn, the
And he
Hayes.
Anne Heche. Jesus, thank you. She
I'm
was
done. I'm
yeah,
done.
Thank you. Why
I
did it take
remembered
us so
Anne Heche.
long?
no doy.
But-
yeah, duh. I don't even know who Anne Heche is, but sure, yeah.
No, but Anthony Perkins in the original Psycho, and he did come back and do like a Psycho 2 years later.
Was it 2 and 3?
Two and three? He did a bunch of them.
I never saw the
I
other
mean,
ones.
I no disrespect, but I am disappointed with Psycho 2 and Psycho 3. Like, not the best name. I mean, like, come on. Like, if you're gonna, I feel like there's a lot more you can maybe kind of expand on.
Yeah.
They just like definitely Psycho 2. I could see that because we had the first Psycho, now Psycho 2.
Yeah, but Psycho 2 didn't come out for decades later.
feels
Hitchcock
lazy
was
to
dead
me.
by then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
feels lazy.
Still Psycho.
Yeah. Always Psycho. Or maybe Psych No. I like that. That's kind of
Yeah,
fun.
it's like, no, that's good.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
that's
no,
fun.
but I just in the face, and in the eyes. Actually, I saw a little.
Oh,
Yeah, your eyes look like you would wear your mother's clothes. Hey, have you seen that movie about that psycho? You look just like him. Well, thank you.
I meant it as a compliment.
Yeah,
that was really the only movie he ever did because
No, shame on you.
Shame on you.
Again, a shame on you. Tony Perkins did a lot of good movies. He was a little. What, you're mad?
he is. He's a little upset.
That's the one he's best known for.
Okay, thank you. That's it. I was going to say. I was going to say that one.
I hate it when I hurt his feelings.
I don't really watch a lot of old movies though. Like I'll see some old movies, but like my stepdad, he's like an old British guy, and he'll be like, "Oh, you got to watch this black and white movie with Audrey Hepburn," and I'm like, "Do I though?"
It's
You
called
know?
Dam Busters.
What is it?
Dam Busters.
See, haven't seen it. An old movie to me is like 1982. I'm like, this is an old movie.
Well, it is. an
Yeah.
old movie, but yeah, no.
What's the volcano movie?
Dante's Peak.
No, John's favorite movie.
Oh, Joe versus the volcano.
That's an
See,
old
as
movie.
far as titles go, that's a good title right
great
there. It's
title,
like
right?
Joe, and there's a volcano, and they're against each other, and they were like, "Nay, I got
yeah,
this." Joe versus the
I love that
volcano.
movie.
That's a good movie. It's a
Tom
good movie.
Hanks is Joe.
Tom Hanks is Joe, and Meg Ryan is in
the
it.
volcano.
Yeah, and Meg
Nobody
Ryan's in it.
loved it. It was horrible.
I'm
horrible
curious.
Box office.
Who do you guys think is the best actor just ever?
Whew.
I'm leaning toward Daniel Day-Lewis.
Okay. I'll go ahead and because I know my answer. My answer is going to be Leonardo DiCaprio. I think he's a solid actor.
Daniel Day-Lewis is pretty strong.
And I
Yeah,
guess
I was
Leo was a
thinking
bad
him.
one, or
No, Leo's great.
Well,
Leo's
I
great,
hate-
but I would take Lewis
over
DiCaprio.
Leo.
I would say Johnny Depp only just because I like quirkiness, but I worry that he plays the same card too often.
Yeah, he maybe is too quirky, right? He couldn't. I mean, yeah, he's played serious, but like as far as like a doctor, I would be like, that's Johnny Depp dressed up like a doctor. Where Leo, I could be like, that's a doctor.
Yeah, Leo's great. Daniel Day-Lewis, he just does the whole method thing. I mean,
Yeah, he's tight.
he lives it.
Do you
And-
guys like method? You answer first, and then I got a method acting question.
Yeah, I do love method acting.
Yeah?
What's your answer?
I do.
Go.
The first thing that popped
Tony
into my mind was
Perkins.
Brando.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
Marlon Brando.
Yeah.
Especially if you watch something other than The Godfather. But I was watching, once again, it's a black and white movie. I watched Streetcar Named Desire, and I watch On the Waterfront, and I see all these, and some other films that he did. And later on, and later in life in his career, he actually made some bad movies.
Sure.
But he had just this presence. And I tell you, another person who I was just amazed with, and once again, these are old actors, but that were cut short in life. I was watching James Dean as an actor.
He's like a 27 Club member, right, or something like
Yeah,
that.
he
died
died
at
young,
27,
and there was just I was watching this. I was actually watching something, and I was rewinding it. I was on Turner Classic, and I was rewinding it to see just some of the little subtle things that were just that couldn't be taught. Or
And isn't that amazing? Because someone that doesn't know to look for that is just like, oh, that's just somebody doing something. But then someone that does know, you can see it's like in their eyes here. There's like a difference between squinting here or squinting with your cheeks or whatever. Like there's such just little tiny things that you're like, wow, this is like taking this person.
they
to the
always say
next
that
level.
acting is really reacting, and that's what you see in a lot of these performances. You see them not so much.
Say that line to me again. Acting is reacting.
Acting is reacting.
Really?
That's good. I changed my mind. You're the best actor.
Well, that goes without saying. I think the term is present company excluded.
Henry Allen, by far.
Yeah.
the best.
But after that, maybe
The best.
Daniel Day-Lewis, I guess.
Then Leonardo DiCaprio, but that's the order I'm going with.
I would say James Dean, actually, if he had not died, he'd be in the same conversation as Daniel Day-Lewis. And
You think so?
I think
How
so.
old would he be right now?
he would be in his 70s by now.
Oh, if not older.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. There a lot. A lot of people like that were special. And a
But
lot
wasn't
of,
he, no disrespect, because I don't know anything about his, is it called discography? What's it called with like
Filmography.
Filmography, thank you. Once again, I can't read. But yeah, so I don't know anything about James Dean's like filmography, but wasn't he kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, for lack of a better term, like pretty boy-ish?
That's-
Yeah,
that's
that was
right.
like his, was that like his
Well,
biggest crutch, or was he a pretty boy that could also kind of turn it up?
You could
and
say the
now
same thing
act?
about DiCaprio. He's a pretty boy that can act.
Well, but James Dean could act,
Dean was-
though.
yes,
He wasn't just a pretty
absolutely.
boy.
and Daniel
Absolutely
Day-Lewis
could
is a handsome man, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
When he wants to be, because different situations he has to be either ugly or beautiful, right?
Yeah,
And that's kind of fun with acting, though.
Yeah.
It's like, I did just play this heartthrob, but now I'm playing a troll under a bridge.
Right.
So it's
Yeah,
like you
that's
gotta like.
exactly who these guys are.
Yeah, no, there is.
Was
And
it Bridge that got you?
Just troll.
It's troll.
It goes back to a whole other discussion about what's an actor and what's a movie star. There were some people that back in the day were both.
Yeah.
Because they.
There really aren't a lot of movie stars anymore, though.
Well, now you're talking-
Still Leonardo DiCaprio is a movie star.
movie star, but he brings it.
Yes, he definitely brings it.
Brad
But
Pitt has chops. You know, you
Brad
think about-
Pitt's a stud, dude. I watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood
great?
for Leonardo DiCaprio, and I left, and Quentin Tarantino, and I left being like, Brad Pitt's a fucking stud, dude. He has been good.
He's one of those like sexy, like all the women like him, but also all the guys.
But all
like
the guys
him.
are like,
'Cause
I think I'm gay
just-
now.
Yeah,
you
he
know?
does all
It's
cool.
weird.
Exactly.
But with Fight Club, though, I had a guy one time, because Brad Pitt's in that, a guy told me, he was like, you look like, they're like, you look like Edward Norton
Okay.
from Fight Club.
I
I'm
get a
like,
little bit
isn't
of
he a
that.
Nazi in that?
Right.
Like, that's not a compliment at all.
That's America. What is it? Once upon a time. No,
American
what is it?
X.
American X.
Yes, he is a Nazi in that.
right,
Okay.
yeah.
He's just a psychopath. And,
A reformed Nazi, but yes.
Yeah. Once again, I told you we go down rabbit holes.
yeah. Are we in a rabbit hole right
we're in
now?
a
I
rabbit.
don't
We're
think
in,
so.
we're in the. We're in the.
This is our sweet spot. Movies.
This is
and
yeah.
actors
We get
right
to the
now. Yeah.
method actors and so forth.
But
Oldman's a great actor.
Gary
Gary
Oldman's
Oldman's a
a
great
magnificent actor.
Uh-huh.
Oh my
Right.
God, I
I mean,
forgot about him.
there's guys that just
But I think if you're too method, chill out. You know, like really, like
Well,
come
and
on.
Some
Dave
people would
Lewis
say that
is-
about
yeah,
Daniel
yeah,
Day-Lewis.
yeah,
They would.
yeah.
I could see someone saying like, "Okay, dude, you know, you're
Like-
not Abraham Lincoln."
Yeah,
For
there's
sure.
there's
Let's go ahead and
actors-
pull it back a
There's some
second.
people who
you know?
say that if your method, sometimes it's psychologically detrimental because you dive so deep that you take months and months and years to recover. Daniel Day-Lewis does not work as much because he dives too deep.
All right.
And he's got to take some time to get back
He's
to
gotta-
his
he's gotta
person.
recover.
Didn't he actually stop?
Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
cobbler.
He's actually his,
Like a shoe cobbler chip?
Yes.
Yeah, he actually likes.
okay.
And then was it Gangs in New York? I think he came back, right?
No, it was after Gangs. He did.
There Will Be Blood.
No, yeah. He did
No,
that
no.
after
What was the
Gangs.
last one? The Thread movie. No.
The Thread movie?
Well, that's I think with
don't
Tom
remember.
Hanks is like he's awesome, but he's Tom Hanks. Like he's the same guy in every role.
Yeah, but he's so good every time.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's good.
yeah,
You love
yeah,
Tom.
yeah.
Tom Hanks is a movie star.
Yes.
But he's
That's
also
another,
a great actor.
That's another movie star, yes.
Modern day
Jimmy Stewart.
Fonda, James Fonda, or Jimmy.
He's Tom Hanks
I
is.
thought it was Jane Fonda. Is it Jane or
Fonda.
James? James Fonda.
What about the comedians that turn like into
Robin
actors?
Williams?
Robin Williams, Jim Carrey, Bill Murray.
You will hear this 1,000 times. Comedians make great dramatic actors.
Yeah, I've learned that from you.
Why do you think that's the case?
I think because they're so sad deep down.
No.
Honestly.
he's
I've
being
heard
honest.
that.
I
I'm
get
just-
it.
and
No,
like
I know.
if I could do anything, like excluding write a show and be in it or whatever, like that's what I thought that I could also do. Like I did theater in college or whatever at Columbus State because I can't read community college. But yeah, like as far as dramatic acting goes, I feel like I would be very good at that.
Right.
I'm an excellent fake crier. I can fake cry. Maybe better
You're
than
so sad all the time.
well, no, not really. It's like a
I get what
feeling.
he's
It's a
saying.
feeling in the eyes. But I don't
what he's
know
saying.
why they make such good dramatic actors. But something about it, they do make great dramatic actors.
Yeah.
But
And I've heard from my friends all the time. They say, because Johnny and I have worked on many a project together, and they all know my stand-up background and my comedy background. They're like, dude, why do you make such sad, dramatic movies? When are you
It's
gonna,
my fault.
When are
Sorry.
you gonna make something funny? And I tell them, I go, it's actually very hard
To make
harder
funny stuff?
to make a funny movie. I mean, it is hard to make.
well, I think so many things go into it, right? So you have a funny script. It's funny. But then now it goes into another kind of not level, but it's like the next step where now it's like the production, right? The pre-production is this script is amazing. Now it's the production time and there's a bunch of hands kind of on it, right? The director or whatever, the people that are acting in it, they're kind of taking their own thing from it. So it's just like, and then after you make that, now it's the post-production of like the editor being like, I think this is the best take. This is
Right,
the thing,
right.
putting it together. So there's just so many levels that it can kind of the funniness can be lost.
That's why casting is important because
Casting
you have
is
to you have to set up your film to be successful, and you have to set to and get all the material you need so your editor can do his job and keep it funny.
Right, it's tough.
You know what I mean?
Where maybe a dramatic movie, it's not that can't be lost, because it definitely can be lost, but I feel like it's easier to lose a joke versus losing like a serious moment.
Right.
Especially you talk about beats. You get an editor just fuck with one, second.
Yeah, there's been a lot of comedy movies, and don't get me wrong, I've laughed my ass off at tons of comedies, but there's been other comedies where I once again, the beats, they were missing the beats, the rhythm was off. There was something that just didn't work.
It's in the editing. And if you're off by 48 frames of a reaction, sometimes it can mean either a joke dies or it becomes a really great moment.
Yeah, it died so much that it's funny now.
Right, exactly.
And it's like
That's why I'm such a fan of. And once again, I'm going back to something you don't watch a lot of, but if you ever do, educate yourself in that realm and start going to.
I'll do it tonight.
Do it tonight. Watch some old black and white comedies that directed by a guy named Howard Hawks with Cary Grant and Rosalind Russell, and the scripts.
No Cary Grant, but I don't know the other
just
two.
the beats, the timing, the rapid fire, the Katharine Hepburn and Jimmy Stewart.
His Girl Friday is a great movie.
His Girl Friday. It's so fast, Henry. It's just so fast and quick that it's just like you're like.
It's like a machine gun.
Yeah, you're
But I love that. I think that's great. Like,
and they're totally engaged, and you go, wow, that works. And then you see updated versions of the same thing. I've seen there's been like 3 or 4 remakes of the movie called the Front Page. The Front Page, and
Chip was just a second late on that one, but
something
it's okay.
there's something just missing. There's the rhythm that's missing. So that's why.
Do you think it was easier though back in the day? Forgive me for saying that.
No, it's okay. It was back in the day.
But back in the day, because the steps of making it, there weren't as many to take.
That's what I was gonna say.
Right? It was like you just filmed it. They said the lines, and then it was kind of done.
Like movie magic.
Yeah.
It was just do it.
It was just like, we're here at the table, we say the lines, and it's it. Like now where it's like, okay, well, we said the lines at the table, but now we're going to do it from Whitney's perspective, and then we're going to get this, and now you have too much. It's like...
A lot of the old films were shot in masters, right? And a lot of these performers were used to acting in the theater and with this type of writing. So they shot masters, and they only went into coverage, which is either close-up or a medium shot on the other actor. When they needed to.
Not out of creative choice.
Yeah, because the studios, they did not want to spend money on it. And time was money. Get through the fucking
Still
script.
is.
Yeah. You got 4 more pictures to do this year. Get moving.
You got a cigar in your mouth. Dude,
The producer would stamp and shoot as is.
Yeah.
So I don't like that unless I wrote the script. And then I'm like, shoot it as is. But so the reason I was in Austin is my friend who makes sketches on Instagram or whatever. He got cast in this like.
What's his name?
His name's Adam Little. His Instagram actually just got taken down because it was attached to his Facebook, and he does like real edgy stuff, like for sure. But a little show, if it's back up now, it should be back up soon. But he gets cast in this show, and no disrespect to the people that wrote it because they were super cool. But they were like, we'd never done a comedy before. There were 2 directors that did, it was like a couple, a guy and a girl, and they did commercials mostly. So then they hire Adam in. They had the script written by this guy who was like a writer, but he wasn't a comedian, and it was funny. It was a cryptocurrency thing. And Adam and I get there, and the only reason I win is because Adam was like, come and basically work for me. Like, because, write the jokes that I'm going to do, like kind of critique my character that I'm being, and just be there on set with me, and I'll basically pay for everything. And I'm like, well, okay, I can do that. So we go and we get the lines, which I went to Columbus State for a few years, and it was all like theater stuff, right? Which you gave him a look because it's a 2-year school. I went for 3 years, didn't graduate because you guys know at the same time I can't read. That's my big comeback. I'm gonna be like, I can't read. Thank you. Good night. So, but the things I did like, we did like script analysis and things like that. So we basically changed all of his lines, but we didn't change it to where like whatever the person says to him, he'll say something back. Their line will still work. Right? Like, it's not like we're not changing the whole script. We're just changing what he's saying. And we made it a lot funnier. And they were like kind of skeptical about like giving us this freedom. But it's like, you guys hired him because of what we do, right? You think he's funny. That's what you guys want us to bring
make
to
commercials.
Yeah, so let him.
So they were like very like do it as is, apprehensive at first, and they saw us do like 2 takes and they were like, oh, whatever the fuck you guys want to do, like we'll do it. So I get where some people are like, say every single word as it is. But also I personally like the improvising aspect of like, all right, we have this kind of in moment and we have this out moment, but what happens here in the middle is kind of up for discussion. You know, I'm writing this show right now with my friend Adam that's going to star Jason Banks. And like basically every scene, it's just like get into the scene. Here's about 2 jokes for it, and here's an out for it. We can use those jokes, but I know the moment Jason Banks gets in that scene, he's going to think of 12 lines that are better than any of us could have thought of. So I'm like, that's not a problem. Like, it is a problem whenever people are like, well, my lines were the best, we have to say those. It's like, no, the best line is the best line, right? If an ego gets into it, then that's a problem. But if you can keep the egos out of it and everyone has like a good spirit about it, the director, you know, the director of photography, everybody there, if everyone's on the same page, then that's how you make good
One
stuff.
bit of advice for that type of film, because we've done this, 2 cameras.
Oh yeah.
Because the editing with 1 camera in that type of situation
Nightmare.
is a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
Which they were doing. They actually shot this show vertically, meaning for the listener at home that they could, you can just
said
watch
the
it.
worst word possible.
You don't like vertically?
No, because
home.
because cinema, I know it's for phones, but cinema is not vertical.
No, it's not vertical at all.
I
And what
just
we
saw-
shot
I saw
wasn't exactly cinema.
His shoulders went,
Yeah, I know.
every time I shoot
He was
something,
gonna watch it.
Every
Yeah.
time I shoot something someplace, if I'm like, you know, I want to shoot something for the podcast so we can do a little, just don't shoot it vertical. Don't shoot vertical.
Hold it sideways.
Horizontal, not vertical. Horizontal, not vertical.
Because that's how stuff is shot, though.
I know.
But unfortunately, how
all,
things
man.
are watched now is vertically, right? So you can,
oh god, yeah.
you're on TikTok, all that's vertical, right? The moment it's like turn the phone sideways, people sadly kind of scroll past that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes. So, but seeing it, so like the monitor, it had these like a little frame on it. I know for the audio listeners, they're not seeing, but just for Winnie, it was like that. So it was showing what it's going to be shown vertically. And there were so many things, in my opinion, that I felt were missed because it wasn't horizontal. It wasn't that full frame. But they just want someone to be able to hold it in their hand while they're on the toilet watching it. And that's just how it is, you know. And
As long
that's
as you know what the end
product.
How it's
product
gonna
is,
look,
you're fine.
I've seen you compromise reluctantly.
Yeah, well,
But also make the best of what you had to work with. I mean, he's a genius when it comes to that.
That's like the toughest part about doing a radio show, a podcast, a YouTube channel. It's like there's just you got to do it a dozen different times to make it work right for every different form of medium. Like it just is tough, you know.
Did you listen to the podcast or watch some of these podcasts?
I watched it.
You watched those, so that's him. You know, cutting back and forth. This
And I had some problems with it. We'll get into that.
sometimes I get tired. I'm sloppy, so I cut the Dino.
put it all
but he
Little
does. He tries to cut back and forth like a TV show.
For sure. And that's it
why
comes across. It's very good.
You know, and he did
Nice catch, but
the opening as well. That's all him. You know,
It's a little loose, but
he crafted the opening. You know, with everything.
I did it in 20 minutes. You know what?
yeah, you're like, I was on a time crunch, all right? Come on.
But you know, but even on this, he tries to bring a cinema quality.
Do you have like what is it called, like a switcher or something on the 2 cameras? Like isn't there like a term for like whenever I'm talking to this one?
It's a switcher, but no, I actually use it in Premiere Pro for anybody who cares.
Yeah, Adobe.
There's a multiple multicam mode, and I just do that.
So I'm just new into the editing game because like on social media with stand-up, you have to do all this stuff. And like I love editing. What I do not like about it though is you can get like crazy like down a rabbit hole, right? I'll have like a 10-second joke, right? And it's like the joke is 10 seconds, boom. But after
3 hours later,
I wish it was only 3. You know, it's like 43 hours later. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, should I zoom in here? Should I put this word? Should I put multiple
daunting.
words? It's a lot.
daunting.
It's a lot. But I mean, it's fun and it is kind of everything, right? Like
You just keep it simple. I think is the main thing. Keep it simple.
Yeah.
People are attracted to what you say in the material, not so much the editing.
Yeah. And I think they like too. They're like, man, that guy looks like Tony Perkins.
I'd
It
like
sounds
this.
like Ryan Reynolds.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't want to sound like a degenerate. Should we just finish that and go all one more pour and just
We could
finish
do
it?
that.
Oh, you just warned us about this about 45 minutes ago.
I did.
We could do
He's
that.
got,
I thought we got
I
into
think- I
comedy
think-
at 44 minutes, and now it's only been 1 minute since then.
I
When's your
think
heroin
it's also,
guy coming?
it'll be a good place to wrap up too. Want to thank my buddy Rick Andreessen for the guest bottle tonight.
this is great, Rick. Thanks.
Thank his wife.
And his
Thanks,
wife
honey.
who loves Greg Hansberry. Bardstown the Fusion series. This is number 5.
It's
which is good.
it is a
We've
cool
enjoyed.
distillery. Like
Go
I
ahead,
said,
man.
if
Pour
you're
away.
like going to go find, you're going to do the distillery crawl, and you're going to do all these like little old school things. Pop through here, get lunch, because it's like a new age.
Right,
like
right.
remind me of like High Bank or Watershed type of a vibe, you know.
There you go. Look at that.
Congratulations,
There
Rick
you go. Don't forget
Andreessen.
Hansberry. Yeah, God forbid.
Success.
There we go. Done. Aw, you gave the host the
did
last
that
of
right.
it.
Of course,
Thank
man.
you.
It is your house.
Very kind of you. Our guest has been the very interesting and funny Henry Allen. Thank you,
Thank
man,
you.
for doing this.
I mean-
I had a feeling it would go just the way it went.
A little
You know?
slow, then.
No,
An hour and 45 minutes.
no. I said, hey, I got to go to California tomorrow. We'll wrap this one up in an hour. I knew that.
He
I
told
knew
me he's
going
like in and out, in and out.
We'll
What
be in
time's
an
your
hour.
flight,
We'll be in
though?
an
Do you know
hour.
it's like what?
It's not till like
no, I knew
noon.
better. I said that.
What
for
time
you,
is
but-
your flight, though?
It's not till
Oh, not till like
noon.
1 o'clock.
Oh, my
fuck.
gosh.
But
What
I gotta
do?
get up. I gotta get up at 4:30 and go to work.
Oh, okay.
I gotta go to work. I gotta go to work in the morning.
Dude, let me go in tomorrow as Dino. It'll be fine.
Would you please?
I would love
We're
to.
playing Christmas music, so get ready.
I'm going to do the Elvis Christmas
Happy
thing.
holidays.
Because you guys watch the new Elvis movie at all?
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah.
It is awesome, which my stepmom, Angie, shout out Angie, what's up? She's not watching. My mom definitely will, though. But she was like a huge Elvis fan. And whenever it came to that part of like Singer sewing machine, because as an auctioneer, we sell Singer sewing machines all the fucking time. You know, every old lady has a Singer sewing
The old
machine.
pedal type.
Oh yeah, 100%. So just seeing that and then seeing him kind of be like, I'm not going to do what they want me to.
Right.
Was kind of cool.
It was cool. That was a very cool scene.
nice. That was nice.
It's a good movie.
It was a great movie.
Good
Watched
movie.
it like 4 times back to back to back after I saw it.
And you
If
heard
Like
that
a
there's,
Dream
you
Sequence
heard
is
there's like a
awesome.
4.5 or 5 hour version of it. Supposedly, there's
Wow.
rumors that there's like a super long version of it.
No.
I remember getting into a fight with somebody. I can't remember who it was. He was like, "No, that's not the guy singing." I'm like, "Yes, the guy."
Oh, Austin Butler?
Yeah, he's singing.
Yeah, but what was so great about that is that every once in a while they would actually slip in a little real Elvis into,
Yeah,
into
yeah, I
the
remember
movie
that,
as
yeah.
well. It's just like that
You
was-
brought up Elvis earlier. This is the second time we've brought up Elvis.
It's good. Wait, I brought up Elvis earlier?
Yeah, I forget why, but you said Elvis.
Yeah, Elvis was a movie star.
Yes. And speaking of people that ended up making some bad movies,
Yeah.
I think he did that too.
Yeah.
But I think he wanted to bust out like as many as he could.
Well, yeah,
Right?
he had no choice.
Yeah,
You know,
'cause-
if we go by what we saw
Yeah.
in this latest
He
bio,
couldn't
Yeah.
get out of the country.
yeah,
so,
you know, he couldn't do it. But I used to do an Elvis joke about all those movies.
I have that on video, I think.
Yeah,
You have everything on video.
everything on video. You know. Elvis, I got an idea for a movie. What am I doing? Oh, you're singing, dancing, chasing girls. Sounds like fun. You know, fun in Acapulco. All right, that's good. Well, everything was the same thing.
I get it.
That's good.
All right, Henry. Let's. Where can people find you? Social media, dates, all the above.
My social media is the same for everything, which is the Henry Allen, TheHenryAllen, like the Ohio State University.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, there's the clapter.
OH.
Yeah, there's Chip. So yeah,
Whatever.
social media. It's all the Henry Allen for everything. I don't have Facebook. I am locked out of my Facebook though. Locked out,
Good for
meaning I
you.
forgot my password, and my email is from my 8th grade, Minford Middle School, like .oh.us.k12. So like I can't really get back into that. So will I be canceled? Most likely. That's not a big deal. You know, it's fine. It's fine. You don't actually get canceled. You just change audiences, right? You know. So yeah, the Henry Allen on everything. Dates. This comes out next Monday.
A Monday or Tuesday, yeah.
Which is the middle of November.
It'll be November the 8th or 9th, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eighth is
8th is a
7th
Tuesday?
is Monday.
Yeah, 7th, 8th, 7th or 8th.
All right.
I'm actually, so I turned 30 on December 4th. I'm thinking,
shit. Hey.
yeah, I'm thinking about doing.
Don't panic.
I'm good. I'm cool. Thinking about doing like some kind of special for that. So maybe buy tickets to that. I don't know
That's
where
so
it's gonna
funny.
be.
We're at the
You're
Funny
gonna
Bone.
turn 30.
It wouldn't be at the Funny
okay,
Bone.
all
It
right.
would probably be
You're
at
So
gonna
a
just follow you on social media.
30. I started doing stand-up when I was 30.
Yeah.
I have a marriage that's 30, so.
I started stand-up when I was 30.
Isn't that crazy?
You're celebrating your 12th year in the business.
I'm looking at
Turned
40. I'm looking at 40.
No, you're not.
Yeah, yeah.
No, you're not.
And with your fingernails painted, you're reeking 18, dude.
He
So
did.
it's all good.
That's it. He's a Halloween freak, so he did that for his.
I think it's
he says
cool.
he did it for his kids.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, my
Whatever.
daughter did this.
Yeah.
It was totally her.
Yeah, did it for his kids.
So rad.
All right. Well, you can find us on whiskeybusinesspod.com,
Yep.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Thank you for subscribing on your favorite podcasting app. Just hit that subscribe button. No, you're ahead of the game.
I'm ahead of you.
You can. We've been talking about the YouTube video if you're listening to it at home or on your road or whatever. YouTube Whiskey Business with Dino Tripodis, where you can
No, I'm not going to do it.
smash that subscribe
Smash that
button,
subscribe button.
hit the bell.
Ding,
We
ding.
we suck at pushing our social media.
Just
We're
follow
This is
us.
the third time you pushed it, so I think you guys are pretty good at it.
Yeah,
you know?
no, but we're, I mean, now.
Yeah,
but
this is the best we're getting.
Afterwards, what we're supposed to be like.
Yeah.
posting
Anyway,
stuff.
thank you
Tagging
to
We're
Evergreen
the worst.
Podcast
We're the worst.
Network.
I don't care.
They're a lot of fun. They're good folks, and apparently Dino got invited to
There's a
some
party
big
going on.
No, it's not. I don't know.
Oh, you said next Thursday
Next
at
Thursday.
the Cleveland Yacht Club,
Yacht
6
Club.
to
Everybody-
8.
okay.
6 to 9.
I'm going to
That's
go.
nine.
Let's everybody
I
go and
missed it.
protest.
That's
Go and have your protest
Don't
signs.
protest, but definitely go and just try to get in. You know,
Tell them you're with Dino.
yeah, everyone's got a yacht.
You're with
Yeah.
Dino.
Yep, so you're with Dino.
And I gotta say, can I
course-
say one more thing? We've won
spit it out.
we've won the Columbus Comedy Podcast Award, like for a while.
times.
3 times in a row.
3
And
times in a
this
row.
is why I
Consecutively.
think we won it, because this was really cool,
Was
in-depth
cool.
comedy. It wasn't funny, but it was really like it was a nice,
wasn't fu-
it was a nice
thought it was funny.
in-depth podcast about comedy. I
That's
didn't
what
laugh.
he asked me. The
I
premise.
get it. We could put in the comedy category. We have a lot of fun. We have a lot of laughs on our podcast. You saw the Jason Banks one. We had a lot of laughs with that one. But we also had some in-depth conversations as well. And much like tonight, same thing. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Dino.
All right.
You're a legend in my book.
Oh, and
Just met you two though, but you're so cool. Chip,
All right.
you're the man.
And let's see. So I'm going to California. I'll be by the time this podcast drops. I'll be back. I don't know if I'll have news or anything positive to say, but I'll hold it till then. If I
Hawking
can.
a script.
Huh?
Hawking a script.
I wanted to talk about that too, and we didn't even get it.
Nah, this is about you, not me.
Will you
I
get
know,
a picture of you like laying on the beach with one of those like tinfoil trifold things?
The Santa Monica Beach.
Probably not.
I'm
Yeah.
afraid somebody would think
on.
that something washed up from the ocean and they would try to move it.
That doesn't seem on
Just
brand
roll it
for
back
you.
into the
No.
ocean.
Just roll it back in. It needs water. It needs to go back into the sea.
Can we make some kind of pulley system to get this up in the air?
Save the whale. Save the whale. No, you're not going to get
a bucket of water.
all right. We got to wrap things up. Our guest, Henry Allen. Thank you, John Whitney on the video side. Greg Hansberry on the audio side. Chip Cassell, the fifth Beatle, just hanging around and doing what
Love
he does.
Chip, love Chip.
My name is Dino Tripodis. Until the next bottle, see ya.